So here we are in Adobe Photoshop. Now I have this FedEx logo. You can choose any logo you want, but right now I'm going to choose this one. The main reason is that this logo is a combination of two colors, and that is going to be very useful for our animation. So first thing first, we need each and every alphabet on different layers. So first of all, I'll select this F first. So I'm going to choose pen tool for this tutorial. For the selection, I'm going to select this much portion first, and then simply select this much portion like that, then hit Ctrl Enter, then hit Ctrl X to cut it out, create a new layer and press Ctrl Shift V to paste in place, double click and simply call it as F, and let's hide this. Now same procedure I'm going to follow for this E as well. I'll select this much portion with the help of pen tool only like that. Make sure that you are selecting it properly. If you want to be very precise with the selection, you can, but right now just for the sake of tutorial, I'm going to select something like that. So hit Ctrl X, new layer, press Ctrl Shift V, double click, and let's call it as E. Okay, same after that, I'm going to select this D, press M, which is a shortcut key for the rectangle selection. I'm going to select this much portion like that. Over here, hit Ctrl X, new layer, Ctrl Shift V, and hide this. Then I'm going to select this rectangle selection tool. I'm going to select this much portion, hit Ctrl X, new layer, Ctrl Shift V, double click, let's call it as E, double click, let's call it as X, select this, double click, and let's call it as D. Okay. So now I have each and every alphabet on different layers. I'm going to delete this white color background. And now what we need to do is that I'm going to select my magic eraser tool. Let's hide all of them and simply select your magic eraser tool. If you see in eraser options, the third one is magic eraser tool. And with the help of that, simply select that layer and click on this portion. Same procedure I'm going to follow for all of these layers. Simply click those areas where those white colors exist. Okay, same procedure over here as well. Over here as well. Okay, so now our logo is ready to get animated in After Effects. Now all you need to do, simply go to the After Effects, create a new composition. We are going to call it as main animation. Width I'm going to choose 1920 and height 180, frame rate 30, and duration is 30 second long, and background color is white, and simply hit OK. Then we'll go to choose grade and guide option and simply hit on title selection. Now press Ctrl I, and I'm going to bring this logo and import as. I'm going to choose composition return layer sizes and simply hit import and hit OK, and simply double click to open this. Select all of them, hit Ctrl C to copy, go over here and hit Ctrl V, right click, new, create one null object, select all of them and make it apparent with this null. Then select this null, press S for scaling option and scale it somewhere around like this, and let's try to adjust the position properly over here. Okay, so this position looks good to me. Then I'm going to select this and simply hit delete. Now select all of them and press P for position, create one keyframe. But before that, by holding shift, I'm going to select those positions. I'm going to right click and I'll choose separate dimensions. I'll create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y. Then along with that, I'm going to press R for rotation, create one keyframe each on rotation. Along with that, press S and create another keyframe and hit U now. Okay, then I'm gonna go somewhere around, let's say 1 second maybe. I'll create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y. Similarly on scaling as well as rotation properties, I'll go somewhere around over here. Again, I'm going to create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y only. Then in middle of that, I'm going to select all of them and I'll change the Y position somewhere around over here. Then I'll go to the start. I'm going to choose align tab. I'm going to choose align horizontally and then align it vertically. And let's try to bring this at the center. Then in middle of that, I'm going to select all of them and I'm going to bring them Y position somewhere around like this. And initially at the start, the scaling should be somewhere around like 10. Okay. Then at this point, the rotation should be for this E and X. I'm going to choose a rotation 1 in positive value. Okay, like that. So if you see, you will get something like that. Then I'm going to select this, this and this by holding shift. and I'm going to choose -1 value over there. Okay, so we will get something like that. Now press P for position, so we can see position keyframes only. Let's select those Y positions. So for that, simply select all of them and in search only type Y. So it will show us only Y position first. Then select those Y position keyframes and we will hit F9. Then we will go to the graph editor. We will select this graph by holding shift. I'll move one handle over here and I'll move one handle over here. Select this, move one handle over here. Select this and move one handle over here. Go over here, zoom in. Select this by holding shift, move one handle over here and one handle over here. Move one handle over here and move one handle over here. Okay, so now if you see this, now we'll get something like that. Okay, if you hit play, we'll get something like this. Now obviously the animation should be one by one, so I'm going to take a distance of 5 frames and I'm going to adjust them somewhere around like this. Okay, so if you see this, now we'll get something like this. Okay, now select all of them, press Ctrl Shift C and let's call it as logo reveal. Okay, so this is going to be my logo reveal. Now along with that, I need a certain amount of animation over here. So for that, I'm going to select my ellipse tool, let's say, and I'm going to delete this stroke. Then simply by holding shift, select create one ellipse. Select this, press Ctrl Alt Home, go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Press S. Initially, let's make this value 0. Okay, and let's create one keyframe. I'm gonna go somewhere around 1.10 and let's increase this value somewhere around like this. Now go to the start and let's bring this downwards and select this fill over here, and with the help of this picker, pick up the color of this FedEx logo like that. Okay, over here. Then select this, hit F9 to these keyframes, go to the graph editor, select this by holding shift, move one handle over here, go to the start, select this and move one handle over here. So we will get this kind of blowing effect. Then select this, hit Ctrl D, zoom in, or you can move this to 5 frames as well, like that. And now we need to select this, and with the help of this picker, I'm going to pick up this color. Then again I'll select this and I'll hit Ctrl D. I'll move this over here and I'm going to change the white color. So we will get this kind of stuff. Okay, so this is going to be my cracker animation, or you can call it as blow. So select all of this shape layer, press Ctrl Shift C, and we are going to call it as blow. Okay, and now we will hide all of these layers. Now let's come to our main portion. So for that, I'm going to select my ellipse first, and for the color you can choose with the help of this logo over here. I'm going to pick up let's say for now I'm going to pick up this color. Okay, and now by holding shift I'm going to create one keyframe, and not keyframe, but I'm going to select this and create this ellipse, and I'll press Ctrl Alt Home. Then I'll go to the start and go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Now press P for position, create one keyframe at start. I'm gonna go somewhere around 1 second and I'll create one keyframe. Go over here and let's move this from here to here. After that, right click new and create one null object. Select this and make it apparent with this null. Now select this null, press R for rotation, create one keyframe, go over here and let's make this value 2. So now if you see, we will get this kind of rotation properties. Let's select those keyframe and we will hit F9, go to the graph editor, select this by holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here. Okay, so we are getting this kind of stuff which is very fast. So let's simply bring this value up to around 4 seconds. Okay, so we will get something like this. Okay, now let's select these two layers, press Ctrl Shift C and we will call it as circle. Okay, so if you see this now, we are getting this kind of animation. Now I'm going to go in effect and presets panel, and I'll search for echo effect and double click to apply, and I'm going to increase the number of echoes to 30, echo operator maximum. So if you see this, now we are getting this kind of stuff. Now in echo time, instead of 0.0333, I'm simply going to remove this first 3 and I'll type 0 over there. Okay, so if I see this now, I'm gonna get that a little bit smoother. And if you want, you can make this copies to 150 as well. So what will happen, that the tail of this animation, let's make this quarter resolution, will get a little bit bigger. So currently, just for our preview, I'm going to choose somewhere around 60 only. Okay, so first I'll get this animation, then I'm going to select this and I'll hit Ctrl D to duplicate. I'll right click new and I'm going to select one null object, select this circle and make it apparent with this null, then select this null, press S, unlink this, and let's make this -100. Okay, like that. So now if you hit play, we will get this animation in different direction. Now select this circle and we will go to the effect and presets panel and search for fill effect and double click to apply. And from the logo, I'm going to pick up this color over here. Okay, and let's hide this. Now select this circle and this null object, zoom in a little bit. I'm gonna move it to somewhere around, let's say 10 seconds, and I'm going to bring this over here. Okay, like that. So we will get something like this, and then we will get this extra portion over here like that. Now let's go inside this circle, go to the start, select this, create one keyframe over here, hit U, go over here, and let's make this value to somewhere around 10. So the size is gonna get decreased like this. Okay, over here. And if you want, you can make this totally 0 as well. Okay, so we will get something like this. Okay, so this animation is also done. So select this circle, this and this null object, press Ctrl Shift C, and let's call it as extra. Okay, and let's hide this. Now after that, I'm going to select this ellipse. Let's select this and let's create this kind of structure. Select this and press Ctrl Alt Home. Go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically like this. Now after that, if you want, go over here, go to the path, select this path, right click and choose convert to Bezier path. Go to the path and create one keyframe, then select those selections, select this uppermost selection and simply delete it. Okay, so we'll get something like this. Then select this portion, select this portion and shift hold and simply bring this handle over here like that. Then shift hold and bring this handle over here like this. Okay, you can shift hold and or simply adjust this like this. Okay, this is one way. Another way is you can simply do is that instead of creating any path or structure or anything like that, simply select this. Let's delete this path structure, we don't need that. I'm going to select and create one rectangle. I'll create this kind of rectangle as a mask, hit enter and let's call it as mask, and we will choose alpha mask. Okay, or you can choose alpha inverted mask and select this mask and make it apparent with this shape layer. Okay, now let's select this shape layer, press Y for pen behind tool, and by holding Ctrl I'm going to bring this downwards. Okay, and now we need to create animation over here. So let's select this, press P for position, create one keyframe, then I'll go somewhere around, let's say 1.10, create another keyframe, then go to the start and let's bring this over here like that. Select those keyframe and hit F9. So we will get something like this. Okay, then go to the graph editor, select this, by holding shift move this handle over here. Okay, then select this two and hit Ctrl D to duplicate it, and this time I'm going to select this layer and hit U, and let's delete those keyframe and press Ctrl Alt Home to align their anchor point to the center. Let's bring this downwards. Okay, enable this logo reveal, and over here with the help of picker I'm going to pick up this purple color. Okay, then select this, and let's move this over here. Select this, create one keyframe at position, go few frame forward. Let's bring this over here, go few frame forward, select this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Then select those keyframe, hit F9, go to the graph editor, select this graph, shift hold, bring this over here, this over here, this over here, and this over here. Okay, so if you see, first we'll get this and then we'll get this. Now after that, if you see, you'll get something like that, and along with that this should be a little bit faster. So by holding Alt I'm going to move this up to this only, like that. Then along with that I'll press R for rotation, create one keyframe, hit U, go over here, and let's make this one complete rotation. Select this rotation and hit F9, go to the graph, select this graph, shift hold, bring this adjustment like that. Okay, so we will get something like that, and when this is gonna come over here we need to now adjust it. Now let's select these portions and press Ctrl Shift C, and we'll call it as spot animation. Okay, so now our entire animation is almost ready, and now just we need to add them line wise. So along with the spot animation I want this extra animation to be run like that, just for the reference. Okay, then whenever this point is gonna come over here somewhere around at this point, then only this spot animation should start falling on it like that. Okay, so if you see this now, first we will get this and then this. Then at this point when this is gonna come over here, I want this blow animation should start to get animated. So I'll select this blow animation and it should start to get animated at this point. Okay, and then at this point only I'll bring this logo reveal at the top, enable it, and I'll bring this over here. So it will try to animate at this point. So now if I say this, first I'll get this and then I'll get this. Okay, and at this point I'm going to press N. So now if I see this animation, I'm gonna get this and then I'll get this. Okay, so this is how you can create this kind of logo reveal animation inside of After Effects with the help of Photoshop. Okay, so here we are in Adobe Photoshop, and now we have this Google logo. You can easily get this logo from Google itself, obviously. And now we want each and every alphabet on different layers. So first of all, I'm going to select my rectangle selection tool, and then I'm going to select this G over here, or you can select like that. Then all you need to do is press Ctrl X to cut it out, create a new layer, and press Ctrl Shift V to paste in place. Double click on this layer and let's call it as G, and let's hide this. Then we will select this O as well. We will hit Ctrl X to cut it out, create a new layer, and press Ctrl Shift V to paste in place. Similarly, I'm going to select this O. We will hit Ctrl X to cut it out, create a new layer, and press Ctrl Shift V to paste in place. Double click and let's call it as O. Okay, similarly select this and let's call it as O. Okay, along with that we will select this G as well. We will hit Ctrl X to cut it out, create a new layer, and press Ctrl Shift V to paste in place. Double click and we will call it as G. Similarly select this L, hit Ctrl X to cut it out, create a new layer, and press Ctrl Shift V to paste in place. Double click and let's call it as L. Then we have this E. Let's type E only. So now as you guys can see, our each and every alphabet is on different layers. Now we are free to animate this file. So we'll go to the Adobe After Effects. We will create a new composition and we are going to call it as main animation. Width I'm going to choose 1920, height 180, frame rate is 30, duration is 30-second long, and background color we are going to choose white color. Simply hit OK and hit OK. Then we'll go to choose grid and guide option, and we will simply hit on title selection. Then I'm going to press Ctrl I to import my logo file. I'll select this logo and I'll choose import footage, composition, return layers and sizes, and I'll simply hit import and hit OK. Then we will bring this composition over here. Now let's go inside this, and as you guys can see, if you hit Ctrl K over here, you will get this project settings. Over here, name we will choose logo, but width I'm going to choose 1920 and height I'm going to choose 180. So we will get something like this. Then we will right click new and create one null object. Select all of them by hitting Ctrl A and make them parent with this null one. Then select this null one, press S for scaling option, and let's scale the size, and let's delete this null object, we don't need that anymore. Then select all of them and try to bring them properly at the center like this. Over here you can adjust according to your needs. Okay, after that select all of them, press P for position, select those positions by holding shift, and we are going to right click and choose separate dimensions. We will create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y. Along with that, we will press S for scaling option. Again, we will create one keyframe. Then we will press R for rotation, and we will create another keyframe. And hit U for revealing the keyframes. I'm gonna go somewhere around 20 frames. Again, I'm going to create keyframe on each and every layer. Okay, and I'm going to select these two layers over here. Not two, but these three. I'm going to type let's go to the rotations, and we need to make one complete rotation, so let's type +1 over there. So if you see, we are getting something like that. And then for this remaining ones, I'm gonna go over here and I'm going to type over here type -1. Okay, so you will get a different directional rotation. Then at the start, I'm going to select all of them. I'll go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. So select all of them and then go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Then go to around 10 frames and change the Y position of this to somewhere around over here. Then go to around 1 second and we will create one keyframe at Y position, and in middle of that we will bring this over here like that. Then go to the start and let's make this scale 0. So we will get something like this over here. Then in search option type Y, so we can see only Y position keyframes. We will select those Y position keyframes and we are going to hit F9 to ease those keyframes. Zoom in. Let's go to the graph editor, right click and make sure that you are in edit speed graph. Select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here. Select this, move this handle over here. Select this and move this handle over here. Select this and move this handle over here. So if you see, we will get something like that. Same procedure, select this graph, shift hold, move this handle over here, and shift hold, move this handle over here like that. Okay, zoom in a little bit. Similarly select this, shift hold, move this handle over here, select this and move this handle over here like that. Okay, I think at this point it's going too much upward, so let's bring the position a little bit downward like that. Okay, so if you see this now, we will get something like that. And now we need this animation one by one, so hit page down button 2 times, select this O with the help of open square bracket, move this over here again 2 times, 2 times, 2 times, 2 times, and we will get something like that. Okay, we will, so our bouncing animation is ready. Let's select all of this and press F4 and enable the motion blur. Okay, so this is going to be our logo animation. Now we need to create animation which is gonna play at the start. So if you see this now, our main animation is ready of this logo. So let's hide this for now, and now we will start with our main animation which is gonna come at the start. So for that, first of all, I'm going to select my ellipse and let's delete this stroke, we don't need that. And by holding shift, I'm going to create one ellipse. Let's select this and press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Go to the Align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Now press P for position, create one keyframe. Initially, let's move this out of this comp, then zoom in. Let's go to around 1 second. Let's move this or you can bring the position somewhere around over here, and you can try to bring this over here like that. So we will get if you hit play, we will get something like this. Then go somewhere around 2 or somewhere around over here, select this and move this over here. But if you do that, you will get this kind of stuff, so you will we will fix that later. And after this, I'm gonna go somewhere around over here and I'll bring this point at this point over here like that, or you can go to the Align tab and choose Align vertically. Okay, so if you see this now, first we'll get this and then we'll get this. Now let's select those keyframe and we are going to hit F9. Go to the graph editor, right click and make sure that you are in edit speed graph. Zoom in a little bit, then select this portion by holding shift, move this handle over here like that. Then after that, at this point, let's select this by holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here like that. So if you see, we will get something like that. Then at this point, let's select this again by holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here. So now if you see this animation, first we will get this and then we will get this. Okay, now let's go and hit one page down button one time to go one frame forward, and we will create one keyframe at position like that. Then we'll go somewhere around 20 frames and we will move this from here to here like that. So okay, now let's go over here and I'm going to select my pen tool. I'll create one point over here, then hit K to go one frame, go to the next keyframe, and then from here to here I'm going to create one stroke. Okay, or you can hold shift as well to create a proper line stroke. Sorry. Then let's delete this fill, we don't need that fill, and we will choose color, and just for now I'm going to select my red color, and stroke width I'm going to choose 2 pixels. Let's select this and press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Then go at this point and with the help of open square bracket, I'm gonna move this point over here. Then go to the add menu and we are going to choose trim path. Go to the trim path and let's make this end value 0 initially. Create one keyframe. Go over here and let's make this value 100. Select those keyframe and we are going to hit F9. Now hit U and let's move this a little bit over here. Let's select this portion including this keyframe and go to the graph editor and let's hit F9 to easy ease those keyframe. Let's select this portion by holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here. So we will get that it's drawing a one line. Okay, now after that I want this one should get around at this point in a rotational format. So for that I'll go somewhere around at this point. I'll right click new and I'm going to create one null object and I'll move this null object over here, hit enter and let's call it as controller. And this shape layer, not share this but this, let's bring this at the top and make it a parent with this controller. But before that we will select this controller and we will make sure that this controller is somewhere around at this point at the center, and then select this shape layer and make it a parent with this controller. Now let's select this shape layer, hit enter and let's call it as fair. Select this, hit enter and let's call it as line. Okay, now let's select this controller, controller, press R for rotation, create one keyframe. Similarly select this pair and create one keyframe at per position. Then go somewhere around over here and let's make this 180-degree rotation like that. Similarly select this pair and let's move this position somewhere around over here like that. Also this position somewhere around over here. Now let's select those keyframe and we are going to hit F9, then go to the graph editor and select this graph, and by holding shift move this handle over here and select this and move this handle over here like that. So if you see, we will get something like this. Okay, now at this point when this is coming over here, let's select this and we will press Ctrl Shift D to split this layer. We will bring this layer at the top and we are going to delete this parenting, we don't need that. Then we will hit U and we are going to delete all those keyframes because we don't need that. Okay, like that. So, and let's select this pair and now press P for position, create one keyframe, zoom in. Let's go somewhere around 5 seconds and let's make this fit and let's bring this downwards like that. So okay, so we'll get something like that. Then select this and hit F9, then go to the graph editor, select this graph, by holding shift move this handle over here and move this handle over here, so it will look like it's bouncing. Then at this point somewhere around over here, again I'm gonna go somewhere around at 6 seconds. I'll move this somewhere around over here again. So if you see, we'll get something like that. Then go to the graph editor, select this and move this handle over here and move this handle over here. So if you see, we will get something like that. Okay, but it looks weird. So what you can do, let's select this last keyframe and we are going to hit F9. Select this graph, by holding shift move this handle over here and move this handle over here like that. Okay, so if you see, we will get something like this. Okay, then go somewhere around over here, again try to bring this downwards, go to the graph, and when it's gonna come downward it should go somewhere around like this. Okay, let's move this handle again over here like that, and then somewhere around at this point it should again go somewhere up to this. Then go to the graph and again it should come over here, and at this point again move this graph like this. So if you see this now, we will get something like this. Okay, and now same thing we need to do for our stroke. So let's select this stroke, which is our line, press P or let's G for our pen tool, zoom in and let's create one key point at the stroke so you can easily manipulate the stroke. Okay, like that. Then at this point somewhere around over here, let's go inside this contents, go to the shape and path, and we will create one keyframe at path. Then at this point over here, I'm going to select and create another keyframe at path. Let's select this selection, select this, and by holding shift I'm going to bring this over here. Then go over here at this point, let's bring this downwards like this. Then somewhere around at this point, let's go somewhere around over here, create again one keyframe at path. Then go at this point, let's create another keyframe, select this and let's move this over here like this. Okay, then at this point, this path, select this and by holding shift move this handle over here and let's move this up to this at last keyframe like that. Okay, and now along with this I'm going to select this keyframe and I'm going to hit F9 to easy ease those keyframe. So now let's go to the graph editor. Now at this point it's gonna come over here like that, then it's gonna go down, then again at this point it should go a little bit faster. So let's select this, by holding shift move this handle over here and move this handle over here, so we will get something like this. Then at this point it should come a little bit slow, so let's select this, by holding shift move this handle over here like that. Okay, and then let's select this ball, let's go to the graph editor, let's select this graph again, And at this point, if you see, it's gonna come very slow, so we don't want it should come slow, it should come over here very faster. So let's select this and let's move this handle over here and move this handle over here like that. Okay, so it should come at this point very faster like that. And let's move this handle over here like this. Okay, so at this point it's gonna get breaked. Okay, so now if you see this animation, it's come like this, like this. Okay, and now along with this there should be some another animations as well, so let's try to do that. I'm gonna select this stroke, I mean this line, and let's make this stroke width to around 6 centimeter, not centimeter but pixels. Let's make this 10. In search option, let's type cap and choose round cap. Okay, so we will get something like this. Now I'm going to select this line cap and I'm gonna go in add menu. I'm going to choose round corners, go to the round corners and increase this round corners to somewhere around 60. Okay, like that. So now if you see this in quarter resolution, you can preview this in quarter resolution like that. We will get something like this. Okay, now let's hit U, select this ball which is over here and let's move this handle over here like that. Okay, now let's select the position keyframes of this pair over here. Right click, go to the keyframe interpolation. Instead of auto bezier, make sure to choose linear and hit OK. Similarly over here as well, select this, right click, keyframe interpolation. Instead of auto bezier, choose linear. Okay, like that. Okay, over here. At this point this animation is ending. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm going to select this line and let's enable this logo for now. I'm going to select this line. I'll go to the stroke options and with the help of this picker I'm going to pick up this color, then select this pair and hit OK. Select this pair, go to the fill option, select this picker and pick up this blue color and hit OK. Similarly select this pair, go to the fill, picker and pick up this blue color and hit OK like that and hit U. Okay, let's hide this logo for now. So now if you see, we'll get something like this over here. Now let's select this sphere, hit U, and when this sphere is gonna come over here, let's try to bring this upward like that, or somewhere around like downwards like this. Okay, so it should go a little bit downward and then it creates this shape and this and then this. Okay, like that. Now I'm going to select this line and let's make this line 30 or let's make this 15. Then select this line again and hit Ctrl D, and with the help of arrow keys you can bring this line over here. Okay, let's select this line, go to the stroke, select this picker and select this yellow color and hit OK. Select this line, hit Ctrl D and select this line, bring this downwards, and with the help of this picker select this green color like that, and let's hide this for now. Okay, so if you see this now, we will get something like this, this. Okay, like that. Now I'm going to select this line structures, and if you want you can choose 5 pixels line or even 2 pixels lines. Our main motto is to show those colors, so the width doesn't matter. You can choose 41 or not 41, it looks weird. You can choose 10 as well, it depends upon you. I'm going to go with the 15 like that. Now I'm going to select this line compositions. I'll press Ctrl Shift C to pre-compose, and I'm going to call it as lines only, and hit OK and hold alt close square bracket to like this. Then at this point somewhere around over here, let's select this, go to the effect and presets panel and search for wave warp effect and double click to apply. And let's increase the wave width to somewhere around like this, and wave height initially let's make this 0, and let's create one keyframe. Hit U, hit page downwards a little bit, and let's increase the wave height to somewhere around 20 like that. Then go few frame forward and let's make this height 0 again. So if you see this, we will get this kind of structure. Then somewhere around at this point, again I'm going to create one keyframe at wave height, hit page down button, and let's make this value 20 again like that. So okay, then at this point I'm going to create one keyframe, hit page and go somewhere around at this point, and let's make this value 0 again like that. So if you see this now, we will get this, and then we will get this. Okay, so if you see this animation from the start, we will get this. Let's make this quad resolution so we can see it clearly. Okay, and then at this point where my animation is ending, at this I'm going to select all of this and I'll press Ctrl Shift C to pre-compose, and I'm going to call it as animation. Then at this point I'll press Ctrl Shift D to split this layer, and I'm going to right click, time, freeze frame, go to the effect and presets panel and search for pixel poly effect and double click to apply, and then in zoom out, and let's move this animation up to this, and with the help of open square bracket I'll bring this over here, and now if I hit spacebar I'll get this kind of breaking animation, but it should be more interesting. So let's decrease the grid spacing and increase the force to around 300 like that. Gravity choose 9.8 like that, 0.98 something like this. So we will get something like this. Okay, and at this point when this is breaking, we will enable our logo and open square bracket and bring this over here like that. So now if you see this, we will get this, we will get this, and then this. Now we will go inside this, we will select this pair and select both of this pair, or first let's start with this one. Hit Ctrl D, select this pair, press S and let's increase the size, press T for opacity and let's make this opacity 30. Similarly select this pair, hit Ctrl D, press select the second one, press S, copy this same scale to 1.7 and T for opacity also 30 like that. Okay, like this. So if you see this now, we will get this kind of structure, and then this and then this. Okay, so if you see this now, we will get this kind of animation over here like that. Okay, so and if you want for example, if you don't like this 3-line structure, you can go with the one line as well. All you need to do is simply hide those, select this specifically the middle one line, if you are okay with it. Okay, and you can create something like this as well. I think for me this looks quite nice and elegant as well. Okay, so if you want to go with this, you can go with this as well, and your logo animation is ready. And press N, press Ctrl Y to create one solid background and bring this downwards. So here we are in Adobe Photoshop, and now I have this Adidas logo which I got this from Google. Now I have already imported this logo in 1920 by 180 document in RGB mode. Now let's select this and hit Ctrl T for scaling and transform options, and let's decrease the size of this, and let's try to adjust this properly at the center, and let's deselect it. Okay, and hit Ctrl S to save this file. Now let's select this, right click, and we are going to convert this to rasterized layer. Let's zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to select my rectangle selection tool, and I'm going to select this much portion over here. Okay, and let's hit Ctrl X to cut it out, but as you guys can see, this portion are not selected, so hit Ctrl D again, and let's select this selection properly again like this, and hit Ctrl X. Now create a new layer and press Ctrl Shift V, and let's hide this form portions just for now. And as you guys can see, these things are not needed, so let's select this properly and delete it. Hit Ctrl D, select this and delete, and hit Ctrl D. So we have this 3 lines. Now out of which I am going to press L for lasso tool, and I'll select this much area like this, and hit Ctrl X to cut it out. Create a new layer, Ctrl Shift V, double click, and let's call it as 1. Same procedure I am going to follow for these lines as well. Let's select this, hit Ctrl X, new layer, Ctrl Shift V to paste in place, double click, and let's call it as 2, and this is going to be 3. Okay, and let's hide this. Now we have this alphabets, and for that I am going to select my rectangle selection. Shortcut key is M. Let's select this and hit Ctrl X to cut it out. New layer, Ctrl Shift V, double click, and let's call it as A. Select this, hit Ctrl X to cut it out. New layer, Ctrl Shift V, double click, and let's call it as D. Select this and hit Ctrl X to cut it out. New layer, Ctrl Shift V, double click, and let's call it as I. Same procedure for this. Okay, so now each and every alphabet is properly on different layer. Now we will animate this in After Effects. So I'm going to create a new project, and let's create a new composition, and I'm going to call it as main animation. Width is 1920, height is 180, frame rate is 30, duration is 1 minute long, and background color is white, and simply hit OK. We'll go to choose grid and guide option and simply hit on title selection. I'll press Ctrl I to import my Photoshop file, and I'll select my Photoshop file, import as footage. I'm going to choose composition, return layers and sizes, and simply hit import and hit OK. And let's bring this logo over here, and let's double click to open this, and let's lock this background layer. And I don't need to focus on this text just for now, so I'll hide this and I'll lock this layers as well. Now our main focus is on this portions only, so let's try to focus it. Okay, so let's select this one layer, and I'm going to hit Ctrl D, select this and press F4, and we are going to choose alpha mask. Similarly, select this two, hit Ctrl D, select this and choose alpha mask. Similarly, select this, hit Ctrl D, select this 3 and choose alpha mask. Select this 3, 2 and 1 and press P for position. Create one keyframe, zoom in, and let's go to around 20 frame and create another keyframe and go to the start. Let's select this layer, and initially it should go on out of this portion like that. Similarly, select this portion and it should go out of this portion. Select this and it should go out of this portion. Now select those keyframe and we will hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here, so you will get something like this. Okay, and press F4 and enable the motion blur like this. Okay, now after that let's save this file. Okay, now after that I'm going to select my rectangle tool, and by holding shift I'm going to create this kind of rectangle. Press Ctrl Alt Home, go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically like this, so. And let's hide this for now. Then after that, right click, new, and create one null object. Press Ctrl Alt Home again and align this to the center. Then select this shape layer and select your pen behind tool, and by holding Ctrl adjust this anchor point at the bottom. Select this shape layer and make it apparent with this null. Now select this null, press V for selection tool, and let's bring this at the bottom like this. Select this, press P, select those positions, right click and choose separate dimensions. Now create one keyframe at X, go to around 20 frame, create, or let's say 1 second, and create another keyframe. Go to the start and let's bring this X position to somewhere around over here. At 1 second, I'm going to bring this portion to somewhere around over here. Let's go to around 20 seconds and create another keyframe at X. And at 1 second, hit page down button one time to go 1 frame forward and create another keyframe, and create one keyframe at Y. And at 2 seconds, let's move this portion somewhere around over here like this. And in middle of this, let's change the Y position to somewhere around over here and select those Y position keyframes, and we will hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here, this handle over here, select this and move this handle over here, select this and move this handle over here like that. So okay, similarly along with that there should be rotation, so press R, create one keyframe, hit U, go over here, and we have to rotate it like this. So let's rotate it somewhere around like this. So okay, and let's try to move this somewhere around over here like this. Okay, so if you see this now, we will get something like this. Okay, then select this rotation keyframes and we are going to hit F9. Go to the graph, select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here like this. So, or if you don't want that and if you keep it as it is, then that is also okay. This looks most nicer. So now I'm going to select this and this keyframe of position X, and I'm going to hit F9 on it. Go to the graph, select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here like this. Okay, let's select this, press S at this point. Let's unlink this and let's make this 20 like this. Create one keyframe, go over here and let's make this 100 like that. So okay, and select those keyframe and we will hit F9. Okay, like that. Now select these two layers and hit Ctrl D to duplicate it and bring this at the top, and select this null object and zoom in, and let's try to bring this over here at this point. Select these two layers again, hit Ctrl D, bring this over here, select this null object and let's try to bring this over here like this. So okay, so if you see this now, we are getting these three objects and they are coming like this. Okay, and let's select this null object, hit U. At this point, as you guys can see, this is more than that. So what we can do is that let's select this shape layer like this, or you can select this null object and try to adjust the position properly like here only like this. Okay, and now this thing should be one by one. So I'm going to take a distance of 10 frames, or let's try to take a distance of 5 frames first, and let's see what is happening over here. First I'll get this. I think 10 frames we need to take, so let's take a distance of 10 frames like this. Okay, and when hit U, and whenever they are gonna come at this point somewhere around over here, I need this animation should start to get animated. So let's select this and move this over here like this, and let's try to bring this over here. Okay, and hit U, and this portion should be gone. So hold Alt, close square bracket and trim up to this. So as you guys can see, we will get this smooth transition over here. And as you guys can see, this is not properly placed, so let's bring this over here. Yeah, this is properly placed now. And select this and this shape layer, and let's try to bring this animation somewhere around at this point over here. Like, it should start to get animated at this point. Okay, and let's select this area by holding Alt, close square bracket and trim up to this portion. like this, and hold Alt, open square bracket to trim up to this. Okay, like that. So then at this point, which is coming over here, let's select this and this, hold Alt, close square bracket and trim up to this. Then select this and this. Let's move this over here. Let's move this over here, hold Alt, open square bracket to trim up to this. So if you see this now, first we'll get this and this kind of transitions. Okay, and hit U and select all of them and enable the motion blur. Okay, this is happening now. Now all we need to do is to animate this alphabets like this, and let's see. Now let's move this over here, or simply go to the start, press P for position, create one keyframe, go to around 20 frame, create another keyframe, go to the start and select this and let's bring this at the bottom. Select this and let's bring this at the top. Select those keyframe and hit F9. Go to the graph, select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here like this. Let's hit page down button one time. Then this S should start getting animated again 2 times. This B, open square bracket, move this over here again 2 times. Select this, move this over here again 2 times. Select this, move this over here again 2 times. This D should be starting, sorry, not this, but this D word should get start to animate it like this. And all of these animations of alphabets should get started at this point. And then go select this, press Ctrl Shift C. I'll call it as text animation and hit OK. Hold Alt, open square bracket to trim up to this, so we'll get this animation. Now let's select this rectangle and I'm going to create this kind of a mask on it like this, and this animation should get started at this point. Or if you want, you can bring this over here as well. Let's double click, select all of them and enable the motion blur. Okay, so along with this we will get that animation as well. Okay, now let's go to the main animation comp, press S. Initially let's make this 120, create one keyframe, and as this animation goes, and let's make this value 100. Select those and hit N over here at this point. Press Ctrl Y to create one solid background and bring this downwards like this. And let's bring this a little bit over here. Okay, then right click, new, and create one adjustment layer. You go to the effect and presets panel and search for tint effect, and you can swap these colors according to your needs. Then I'm going to click on this ellipse and by holding shift I am going to change the white color. Let's select this and press Ctrl Alt Home. Go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Press S and increase the size of this. Select this and press F4 and we are going to choose alpha mask. Okay, like that. Then when this animation is happening at this point, I'll select this, create one keyframe, go few frame forward and let's make this value 0. Select those keyframe, hit F9, go to the graph, select this graph. By holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here like this. Okay, and you can bring this point over here as well if you want. You can bring this portion up to this as well. Okay, so as you guys can see, this is how we can create this kind of logo reveal animation inside of After Effects. Okay, so here we are in Adobe Photoshop. Now I have this YouTube logo. You are free to choose any logo you want, but I would suggest to use this logo. And after doing this animation, you can try this kind of techniques to the other logo as well, like Google, etc., etc. But we have to make sure that those logos need to be in a alphabetical format. Okay, like that. So I have this YouTube logo, and now first thing first, that I need each and every alphabet properly on a separated layer. Okay, so let's try to do it. First thing first, I'm going to select this layer. I'll go to the select options and I'm going to choose color range. With the help of this picker, I'm going to pick up this black color, so it will select that black color only. And fuzziness, I'm going to choose 80, or let's choose 100, and simply hit OK. Then create a new layer, and I'm going to press Alt backspace to apply that color and hit Ctrl D to deselect it. And if I hide this logo layer, I'll get this U word over here. Then I need this tube word as well. So again, same procedure, go to the select color range with the help of this pickup, this white color, and simply hit OK. Then create a new layer and press Alt backspace to apply that color and hit Ctrl D to deselect it. So if you hide this layer and this white color background as well, as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of structure. Now I don't want any of this other stuff, so what I'm gonna do, I'm going to press L on my keyboard to select my lasso tool, and I'm going to select this tube word only, like this. Let's hit Ctrl D to deselect. I'm going to select this portion and press Ctrl Shift I to invert selection and delete it, and hit Ctrl D. So if you see, now we have this U and tube, and now I need this red box as well. So for that, what we can do, I'm going to again select color range option and pick up this color and hit OK. Create a new layer and hold Alt backspace, so it will automatically apply that red color to it, and hit Ctrl D to deselect. And let's hide this, and we don't need this, so let's delete this. And now if you see, we are getting this kind of structure. Now again choose lasso tool, and we will select this much portion like this, and we will press select this layer and hold Alt backspace to apply and hit Ctrl D. So if we have this U, this tube, and this red box and this background, now double click on this red box and let's type box over there. Then we have this tube over here, so let's hide this. I'm going to select my lasso tool over here, and I'm going to select this T first. Hit Control X to cut it out. New layer, Control Shift V, double click, and let's call it as T, and let's hide this. Then we will select this U over here. Hit Ctrl X, new layer, Ctrl Shift V, double click, and let's call it as U and hide this. Then we have this B. Ctrl X, new layer, Ctrl Shift V, double click, and let's call it as B. Then we have this E as well, so let's call it as E. Okay. Then we have this Y. Let's select this. Hit Ctrl X, new layer, Ctrl Shift V, double click, and let's call it as Y and hide this. Then we have this O. Hit Ctrl X, new layer, Ctrl Shift V, double click, and let's call it as O, and let's call it as U. Okay, so we will get this kind of each and every alphabet properly on a separated layer, and let's save this file. Okay, so our logo file is ready. Now we will go to the After Effects and we will try to animate this. Now let's go to the After Effects, create a new composition, and I'm going to call it as main animation. Width is 1920, height is 180, frame rate is 30, and duration I'm going to choose 20-second long, and background color is white color, and simply hit OK. Choose grid and guide option and simply hit on title save action. Then I'm going to press Ctrl I to import my PSD file. I'll select this footage. I'm going to choose composition, return layers and sizes, and simply hit import and hit OK. And simply double click to open this. I'm going to delete this background layer. I don't need that. Let's select all of this and hit Ctrl C to copy. I'll go to the main animation and I'll hit Ctrl V. Then I'm going to right click new and create one null object. I'm going to select all of them and I'm going to make it a parent with this null. I'll select this null, I'll press S for scaling option and I'll scale it till I'm going to adjust it at appropriate size. Let's make this 30 properly. Press P for position and let's try to bring this properly at the center. Okay, and let's select this and let's delete this. We don't need that anymore. Now I'm going to select all of these layers and I'll hit Ctrl D to duplicate it and I'll press Ctrl Shift C to pre-compose and I'm going to call it as reference. Okay, so this layer is going to be our reference layer and let's lock this layer and let's hide this layer as well. Or you can select this and instead of hiding this, press T. Let's enable this layer only and let's decrease the opacity of this layer. Let's lock this layer as well. Okay, we are not going to hide that layer. Now let's hide this box and I'm going to select this alphabets. Go to the effect and presets panel and search for fill. Double click to apply and we are going to choose black color. Select this fill, hit Ctrl C, select this, hit Ctrl V and Ctrl V. So now we have this black alphabets. Now let's save this file. Okay, now let's try to adjust this at the center properly. So we will select this Y and we will bring this over here. Then we will select this U and or let's select this B and let's try to bring this at the top of this. And let us select this O and let's try to bring this over here. Okay, so we have this Y, B and O and let's bring these layers on the top and let's enable these layers like that. So let's try to adjust it properly like this. Okay, over here. Now let's select this, press P for position, select these positions by holding shift, right click and choose separate dimensions. So first is Y, then there should be this B and then there should be this O. Select all of them, create one keyframe at Y position, zoom in, go to around 1 second, create another keyframe and go to the start, go to the align tab and choose align vertically and let's try to bring this position over here. Okay, then we will get something like this. Okay, then select this keyframe and let's try to bring this up to 130 and in somewhere around over here I'm going to choose align tab again and choose align vertically, so it will automatically come over here and change the Y position to somewhere around over here like that. Okay, so if you see, we are getting something like this. Now select those keyframe and we will hit F9 to easy ease those keyframes. Go to the graph editor, right click and make sure that you are in edit speed graph. I'm going to select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here. Select this, move this handle over here, select this and move this handle over here. So if you see, we are getting something like this. Okay, but this Y is going to take a long time. So what we can do, I'm going to select this keyframes or let's select this. If you see this animation, first we will get this and then this. Okay, along with that there should be some rotation animation as well. So let's select this, press R for rotation, create one keyframe, hit U, go to the last keyframe and let's make this one complete rotation. So let's make this 1. Okay, then press R only so I can see only rotation keyframe. Select those keyframe and hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here and let's save this file. So if you see this now, we will get this kind of animation. Now I want to, there should be a gap between these animations. So I'm going to take a gap of 5 frames like this. So I'm gonna get this kind of structure. Okay, so if you see this, we will get something like this. Okay, Now if you see, we will get this kind of structure. Now let's hide all of this. And now if you know that we have this box, so let's time to animate this box. So go to the align tab, align it horizontally, align it vertically, press S, and let's decrease the scale of this like this. Now press P for position, select this, right click and choose separate dimensions. Now let's bring this Y position over here. Let's create one keyframe at Y position, go to around somewhere over 40 frames, and let's bring this somewhere around over here. Then go few frame forward to somewhere around 1 second, go to the align tab, choose align horizontal vertically, and let's bring this over here. Along with that, press R for rotation, create one keyframe, hit U, go over here, and let's make this 2 complete rotations. So if you see, we will get something like this. Now let's select those Y position keyframes and we will hit F9, go to the graph, select this graph, shift hold, move this handle over here. This one should be over here, this one like this, and this one like this. So it will look like a bouncingness. Same procedure we will do for rotation keyframe as well. We will select this, shift hold, move this handle over here and this handle over here. So if you see, we will get something like this. I think the 2 rotation is much more, so let's make this 1 only. And then after this, it should go upward somewhere around. If you enable this alphabets, it should go over here. So let's select this and change the Y position to somewhere around over here like this, and go to the graph, select this graph and let's hit F9, shift hold, move this handle over here and move this handle over here like this. Okay, now let's select this like this. Now in search option, I'm going to type X, so it will show me the X position, and let's try to bring X position over here a little bit. So if you see this now, we will get something like this. Let's hide this alphabet just for now. If you see, we are getting this kind of stuff. Now when they are going to bounce, I'm going to select this alphabets. Let's enable this and let's try to bring them over here. Okay, like that. Okay, now I'm going to select this box and let's see if I see this animation, I'll get something like this. Now this box, what is gonna do is that this box will travel one path over here. So let's try to add that part. So I'm going to select this pen tool. From here to here, I'm going to draw this line. Let's delete this fill, we don't need that. And I'm going to choose something like black color only. So let's select this, then select this, then select this, and then select this. Okay, so let's try to adjust this path properly. Okay, and this is going to be the path, so we have to draw it properly like this, and this as well. Okay, select this, hit enter, and let's call it as path. Also inside that, if you go to the search option, if you type path over there, you will get this path keyframe, and simply hit keyframe and select this and hit Ctrl C to copy. After that, if you see this box, what I'm gonna do, whenever this box is gonna come over here, hit U, go to the last frame and press Ctrl Shift D to split this layer, hit U, and I'm going to delete this keyframes. I don't need that. Similarly, I'm going to select this and I'll press P for position. I'm going to select this X and Y position, right click, and I'm going to disable this separate dimensions. I don't need that. Then I'm going to create one keyframe, and if you remember that if you hit U, we have this path. I'll copy this path and I'll hit Ctrl C to copy. I'll select this position and I'll hit Ctrl V. So now what will happen, that this box is going to follow this path like that. Okay, so if you see, we will get something like this. Now there should be something over here later. So first this animation, and when this is at the proper rest, I want this animation should start somewhere around at this point. Okay, over here. So let's bring this animation up to this. Similarly, bring this line up to this. Okay, now select this keyframe, and I'm going to hit F9 to ease those keyframes like this. Okay, so if you see, yeah, then go to the graph, select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here, select this, and you can move this handle over here like this. Okay, or what you can do is that instead of that, you can select this by holding shift, you can move one handle over here and you can move one handle over here like that. So there is going to be ease a little bit. Okay, but if you see over here at this point, we are getting this little bit of glitch. So for that, let's do one thing. We will hide this structure, and I'm going to select this layer, which is this one. I'm gonna go in my effect and presets panel, and I'll apply fill effect, and I'm going to choose black color. Then at this point, I'm going to select this, and with the help of arrow keys, I'm going to just adjust along with that. Then I'll select this layer, and I'm going to delete that fill. I don't need that. Okay, and I'll bring this, trim this up to this. Okay, so let's make this fit. So if you see this now, first we'll get this, then we will get this alphabetical animations like that. Okay, now if you see over here, there should be a proper animation at this point. So along with this, I need rotation animation as well. So for that, I'm going to select this. I'll press R for rotation, or I can simply right click, transform, and I can choose auto orient and orient along the path and hit OK like this. And I'll rotate it a little bit like that to match. Okay, so if you see, let's make this quad resolution. Okay, and at this point, if you see, there should be some increment in size. So press S, create one keyframe. Similarly, R for rotation, create another keyframe, hit U, and go somewhere around over here. And if you select this other alphabets and S, the original size is 30. So let's select this box as well, and let's make this value 30. Similarly, the rotation should be proper, so you can select rotation tool, and let's rotate it like this. Along with that, let's make this full resolution, and at the last frame, try to adjust the position properly like this. So if you see, we will get something like this. Similarly, select those keyframe, hit F9, go to the graph, select this graph, shift hold, move this handle over here, and select this and move this handle over here. So we will get something like this, or you can simply hit F9 as well, or you can select this and you can move this over here like this. Okay, so if you make this fit now, we will get something like this. Okay, now when this Y is touching, when this box is gonna touch this portion, I want this 4 points should start to get animate again, and all the other alphabets should also start to get animate again. So let's select this portions, press P for position, again create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y for each. Similarly, I'm going to select these alphabets, which are remaining alphabets. With the help of open square bracket, move this over here and hit U, and now select all the alphabetical layers and hit U. Okay, similarly select this, let's try to adjust it over here, press P for position, select those position by holding shift hold, right click and choose separate dimension X and Y. Similarly press R, create one keyframe and hit U. Okay, similarly I'm going to select this and create one keyframe at rotation as well. Okay, and select those keyframes like this and hit F9. Okay, then somewhere around at 4 to 15 frames. What I'm gonna do, I'm going to select this O, and this O should be over here like this. This U, this should be over here. This B should be over here like that. Okay, now rotation, I'm going to make this 2 rotation, 2 rotation and 2 rotation. So if you see, we are getting something like that. Okay, similarly all the other alphabets at this point, which are this U and this E, okay, as well as the T. Go to the align tab. We are going to choose align horizontally and align vertically, and it should be over at the bottom like that. And then at this point they should be at their proper position. So what we can do, let's hit Ctrl Z. Before creating keyframe, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to select those alphabets by holding shift. I have already created one keyframe over here. I'll go to the end, and again I'm going to create keyframe for each and every one. And then I'll go to this start. I'll go to the align tab. I'll choose align horizontally, and then I'm going to choose align vertically, and then I'm going to bring this over here. Then in middle of that, if you see, we are getting something like this. Okay, let's hide this reference as well as this box now, so we can only focus on these alphabets. Okay, and in middle of that, where each and everyone is having this animation, you can go to the end property and you can add one complete rotation to this alphabets as well. Okay, so we are getting something like that. And in middle of that, I'll select each and every alphabet like this. Go to the make this fit, and go to the align tab and choose align vertically, or instead of that you can hit Ctrl Z, and you can try to bring the Y position of each and every one to somewhere around over here like this. Similarly, you can select this and try to adjust the Y position somewhere around over here. Okay, so we will get something like this bouncingness. Okay, and let's make this fit. Now let's select all of this alphabet layers. Go to search option and type Y only. Let's select those Y position keyframes and hit F9. Go to the graph editor. Select this graph by holding shift. Move this handle over here. Select this, move this handle over here. Select this, move this handle over here. Select this and move this handle over here like this. Now along with that, this animation should be one by one. So what I'm gonna do, after this, except this Y, B and O, I'll hit page down button 2 times. Select this U, move this over here again 2 times. Select this, move this over here again 2 times, again 2 times. Okay, so I'll get something like this. Okay, and this animation is going to happen when this box is going to touch this portion like this. So if you see this now, you'll get first this animation, and then because this is touching this portion, we will get this animation. Now what we can do, I'm going to select this all the alphabets, and I'm going to press Ctrl Shift C, and I'm going to call it as text animation and hit OK. And go to the effect and presets panel and search for fill effect to apply, and we are going to choose black color for one, and hit Ctrl D to duplicate it and choose white color for another one, and select this box, which is this one. Hit Ctrl D to duplicate it, bring this at the top, select this white color layer and choose alpha mask. So if you see this now, first I'm gonna get this. Let's make this quad resolution. I'll get this, and then this. and then I'm going to select this box and this box. By holding Alt, open square bracket, I'll trim up to this, like this. So okay, so now if I see this animation, I'll get this, and then I'm gonna get this. Okay, now after that there should be some bounciness or some ripple effect over there. So for that I'm going to select my ellipse tool, and I'm going to choose this color over here, and by holding shift I'm going to select this ellipse. I'm going to press Ctrl Alt Home, go to the Align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Go to the start. In search option, I'm going to type size, create one keyframe. Similarly, I'm going to type stroke and I'll create one keyframe and hit U. Initial size should be 0 and stroke should be 20. Then go to around 1 second. Let's increase the size and let's make this stroke width 0. Okay. Select those keyframes and move this over here. Select this and hit F9. Go to the graph, select this graph. By holding shift, move this handle over here. So you'll get something like this. So at this point, I need this animation should happen like this. Then again, when this is going to touch this Y, I'll hit Ctrl D and I'll move this over here like this. So now only I'm going to select only text animation layers. So select this, this and this, and press Ctrl Shift C, and I'm going to call it as text animation layers, and press F4 and enable this icon. Simply go inside again, enable this icon, and inside that select all of them and enable the motion blur. Okay, like this. And then I'm going to select this text animation layers, and I'm going to select my rectangle tool, and I'm going to create this kind of mask for this layers like this. So if I say this now, I'll get this, and then I'm going to get this. Let's select this mask and let's move this up to this. Okay, and now I don't need this path layer as well. I don't need this reference as well. Only thing I need is this one, and press Ctrl Y to create one solid background. And if I go to the 5 second and if I hit N, as you guys can see, our this logo animation is now ready. So this is how you can create this kind of logo reveal animation. So here we are in Adobe Photoshop. Now I have one file of this Coke can. Similarly, I have one file for this logo, and I got some taglines which are related to this Coke brand, which is Real Magic and Taste the Feeling, and we are going to use these taglines in our animation. So first thing first, we need to create this text, and so let's try to do it. Let's go to the Adobe After Effects and let's create a new composition. I'm going to call it as main animation like I always do. And width I'm going to choose 1920, height 180, frame rate I'm going to select this 59.94. So our animation is going to be the smoother one, and I'm going to select this 30 seconds duration, and background color is white, and simply hit OK. Then we'll go to choose grid and guide option and simply hit on title safe action. Then press Ctrl Y to create one solid background, and let's bring this over here and let's lock this. Now I'm going to press Ctrl I to import my Photoshop file. So I'll select this PSD, choose footage, composition, return layer sizes, and simply hit import and hit OK. Then double click, select this logo, footage, composition, return layer sizes, and simply hit import and hit OK. Okay, so now I have this files over here. Now press Ctrl N to create another composition, and let's call it as logo file. Okay, inside that spread Ctrl Y. This is going to be my solid background layer, and let's double click and open this logo PSD file. I'm going to select this logo. I'll hit Ctrl C. I'll go to the logo file and I'll hit Ctrl V. And now let's try to bring this properly at the center. Press S and try to adjust it like that. Go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Go to the main animation and bring our logo file over here like this. Then go to the effect and presets panel and search for CC sphere effect and double click to apply. So we will get this kind of sphere. Now go to the shading options and we are going to increase this ambient value to 80 and diffuse value to somewhere around like this. Okay, so we are gonna get this kind of structure like that. Now we will try to animate this later, but currently let's decrease the radius of this to somewhere around like, let's say 120 only. Okay, after that I have this text real magic. I'm going to hit Ctrl C to copy. Then I'm going to select my text tool and I'm going to press Ctrl V to paste it, and I'm going to choose currently black color, and let's try to adjust this text like that. Hit Ctrl A and let's bring this downwards. For the font I'm going to choose Oswald font, but you can choose any font you want, and I'm going to choose all caps. Let's bring this downwards and let's decrease the distance between these alphabet to somewhere around like this over here, and select this real word and I'm going to increase the size of this text. Okay, like that. Now let's select this and press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Press S and let's increase the size of this. Okay, now let's select this and hit Ctrl D, select this second layer. Let's increase the size of this text as well. Go to the character, let's delete this fill and choose black color for the stroke, and stroke width choose 0.1 or let's say 0.3 or something, or even 0.1 would be nicer. I'm going to go with the 0.3 and let's hide this for now. Select these two layers and press Ctrl Shift C to pre-compose, and let's call it as text animation. Okay, and double click to open this. So we are gonna get something like this. Simply right click new and create one adjustment layer. Go to the effect and presets panel and search for transform effect and double click to apply. Then I'm going to choose Q value to somewhere around like this, so I'll get this kind of structure. Now if you want, then you can select this font and you can choose different font as well, like whichever suits your thinking. For example, this or even this looks good. Okay, so I'm going to go with this one. It's totally up to you, and I'm going to choose semi bold or even black, or you can choose this fox bold as well, and you can adjust the distance like this and distance like this. Okay, and you can select this, press S and adjust the scale of this. Okay, and you can select this, Ctrl C to copy the font, select this, Ctrl V to paste it like that, and make sure okay, this looks good to me. Now after that we need to animate this text, so let's select this, go to the animate and choose position, and let's bring this position downwards somewhere around like this. Go to the trend selector, create one keyframe at start, go to around 1.30 and let's make this value 100. Then go to the start, add property, and we are going to choose opacity. Then along with that, go to the add property and choose tracking, and let's decrease this tracking value somewhere around like this and opacity 0. So we will get something like this. Then select this keyframes and hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph. By holding shift, move one handle over here and we will move one handle over here. Okay, so if you see this now, we will get something like this. Then go to the start, select this animator one, hit Ctrl C to copy, minimize this, select this layer and hit Ctrl V. So we are gonna get this kind of animation. Okay, so let's go to the main animation over here. Let's enable this logo file, bring this at the top I'm going to select this text animation layer, go to the effect and presets panel and search for fill effect and double click to apply, and go to the fill, select this color and pick up this color over here. Okay, like that. So then I'm going to select this logo file, and if you want then you can increase this ball size as well. Okay, and let's go to the rotation properties as well, and we need to rotate it on x-axis over here. So first thing first, let's bring this. We will create one keyframe at x and one keyframe at y. So hit U. Similarly, we are going to create one keyframe at this offset as well. Okay, and hit U. So let's go to the start and let's bring this keyframes over here like this, and let's hide this text animation just for now, and select this logo file and hit U. And initially let's bring this offset downwards, go to around 1 second, and let's make this value 0, or even bring this downwards like that. Then go somewhere around over here and try to bring this somewhere over here like this. Okay, so if you see this now, we will get this kind of structure over here. Similarly, along with this, there should be some rotation animation for this ball. So let's make this one complete rotation, and over here 2 complete rotation. So if you see this now, we are getting this kind of stuff, but because there is rotation on this y-axis, we don't need that. So let's make this 0. So we will get something like this. Okay, and if you want then you can rotate it on z-axis like this to 90 degree. So if you see this now, we will get something like this. Okay, so it's up to you. I can rotate it like this as well. Okay, so it's up to you. I'm going to stick with something like this. Okay, and let's select this y offset and we will hit F9. Go to the graph editor. Let's select this graph. By holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here like this. Select this, move this handle over here, select this and move this handle over here. So we will get this kind of ball animation. And if you see over here, there is some weird stuff. So to get rid of it, simply select those keyframe, right click, go to the keyframe interpolation, and instead of auto bezier, choose linear and hit OK. So now there is going to be a proper animation. Now the rotation animation should be proper as well. So simply select this and hit F9. Go to the graph, select this graph. By holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here. So if you see this now, we will get something like this. Now I'm going to select this, and by holding Alt, I'm going to bring this up to 130 frames. So we will get something like this animation. Okay, let's hide this and bring our main animation comp. First we will get this. Then I want this logo animation should start somewhere around at this point over here like that. So first I'll get this animation and then this. Now let's go inside this text animation. I'm going to select this backward text and I'll make it apparent with this second one. Select this, go to the start, create one keyframe, and as it goes further somewhere around at 3 seconds, I'm going to reduce the size of it. So now if I see this animation over here, along with this, I'm gonna get this kind of animation as over here, like that. So now let's select this ball, go to the effect and presets panel and search for drop shadow effect and double click to apply. And let's make this softness to 300 and distance to 100 as well. Okay, so if you see this now, we will get something like this. And instead of black color, I'm going to pick up this red color over here and hit OK. And if you want, you can choose a little bit darker version of this color as well. So if you see this now, we will get something like this. Okay, and if you know that we have this white color solid, instead of white color solid, if you want, press Ctrl Shift Y to select the solid settings, and with the help of this I can pick up this color over here as well. Okay, and if you want, you can go over here and search for CC vintage effect and double click to apply. so you will get this kind of blackiness as well, but I don't think that's needed, so I'll delete that. Okay, so first thing first, we will get this and then we will get this. Now when this ball is going to touch this ground over here at this point, let's hit U. At this point I am going to press Ctrl Y to create one another solid settings, and I'm going to pick up this color and hit OK, and let's, with the help of open square bracket, I'm going to move this over here, so I'll get this kind of structure. Now I'm going to hit Ctrl I and I'm going to bring my can image, and I'm going to simply footage composition return layer sizes and simply hit OK. Oops, I think I have already imported this, so I don't need to import it again. I'm going to select this Coke can, I'll hit Ctrl C, I'll go to the main animation and I'll hit Ctrl V. Now the size is too much, so simply press S and reduce the size like that, and try to bring this over here like this. Okay, hit W and let's rotate it like this. Let's try to bring this a little bit over here. Initially it should be over here like this. Now press P for position, create one keyframe, then press S, create another keyframe and hit U. Go few frame forward and let's go to the align tab, align it horizontally, align it vertically, and let's increase the size of this can like this. Select those keyframe and hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here, so we will get something like this. Okay, so first we will get this and then we will get this. Now this image looks blank to me, so what we can do over here is that let's go over here, let's decrease the scale a little bit and try to bring this over here. Let's bring this up to 10 maybe, like this. Okay, so we'll get something like this. Now there should be some background text, so what I'm gonna do, I'm going to select this text animation, hit Ctrl D, and let's try to bring this composition over here, and I'm going to bring this comp over here like this, and let's bring this after this text, I mean this can. Now let's select this, go to the effect and presets and search for fill effect and double click to apply, and we are going to choose white color. Now let's go inside this. Now over here we need to change this text. I'm going to type taste the feeling, so let's select this. For over here I'm going to copy this text only, so simply hit Ctrl V, and the feelings I'm going to type after this, so select this magic and hit Ctrl V and select, let's select this text and press S for scaling option initially. Let's make this quad resolution so we can see this properly, and select this text and let's bring this somewhere around like this over here like that. So okay, let's select this and try to adjust it over here. Let's delete this real magic text and try to, let's delete the scaling keyframe as well, because we are writing this text totally in a different way like this. Select this text layer, hit Ctrl D to duplicate, select this, press S, and let's increase the size of this text. Go to the character menu, let's select this and let's delete this stroke, and I'm going to choose 0.3. okay, and let's make this full resolution and let's make this animation like this. So if you see this in quad resolution, we will get something like this, and this animation should start somewhere around at this point, so I'll bring this over here like this, and along with that I'm going, if you want, let's make this full resolution Select this layer, hit Ctrl D to duplicate, or you can select this scan over here and you can increase the size little bit according to your needs, like this. Then select this text animation, right click, reveal layer in source project. So we have this text over here. Let's select this text and hit Ctrl D, and let's bring this at the top and select this, and by holding Alt I'm going to replace it. Let's go inside this, select this background layer, delete it, select this layer, and let's delete this fill, and let's add the stroke of black color and stroke width choose 0.2. So what will happen is that we will get something like this. Okay, let's hit Ctrl Z. I think I did one mistake over there. We have to select this layer, and we need to Ctrl D from here as well, and then by holding Alt we need to replace it. So we will get this text animation 3, and now we can double click to open this, and then I can delete this layer, select this, delete this fill, and add stroke and choose 0.3. So what will happen that we will get one extra text stroke layer over here. So you can choose this to 0.5 as well. So basic thing is that the text should be readable. If you want, you can make this 2 as well, like this. Okay, but if you don't want that, then that is also okay. You can skip this portion as well, because this looks good over here as well. Okay, and you can select this, you can go to the effect and presets panel, or you can search for drop shadow effect and double click to apply, and increase the distance to 50, softness to 200, like that, or distance to 200 as well, and softness to 500 or something, and opacity to 30, or you can choose this color. Okay, and let's make this to 80 or something, softness to 900. Okay, so we will get this kind of animation. And now if you see this animation from the start, first we will get this, and then we will get this, and then you can go inside this, select this, make it apparent with this second text, go to the start, press S, create one keyframe, go to the 4 second, and let's decrease the size of this text. Okay, and hit N. So now if you see this animation, first we will get this, and then we will get this. So with the help of this kind of techniques, we can create this kind of easy motion graphic animations inside of After Effects with the help of Photoshop and After Effects. So here we are in Adobe Illustrator. Now I have this Logitech logo file over here, and if you want this project files, you can download this project files from Patreon. I'll give you the link in the description. Now first thing first, that we need each and every alphabet properly on a separated layer. So first thing first, I'll select this. I'll go inside this options, and as you guys can see in layer 1, all of them are in the path format. So select this layer 1 and click on this circular icon, which is click to target. Then go over here and choose release to layer sequence. After clicking that, each and every path is now properly on a separated layer. So by holding shift, select all of them and simply drag and drop downwards. And we will delete this extra layer because we don't need that. And let's save this file. Okay. I will press Ctrl Shift S, and let's save this as new logo and hit OK. Okay, now let's go to the Adobe After Effects and let's create a new composition. I'm going to call it as main animation. Width is 1920, height is 180, frame rate is 30, duration is 30, and background color I'm going to choose white color, and I'll simply hit OK. Then go to choose grid and guide option and simply hit on title selection. Then I'm going to press Ctrl I and I'll select my Illustrator logo file, import as. Instead of footage, I'm going to choose composition, return layers and sizes, and simply hit import. and simply drag and drop this logo over here. Now let's go inside this and press Ctrl K to open the project settings. And now as you guys can see, the background is black. So let's change the background first. Okay, similarly, width I'm going to choose 1920 and height I'm going to choose 180 and simply hit OK like that. Now let's select all of them. Simply right click, create shape from vector layer, and let's bring this at the top. Now let's select all of these extra layers and let's hide this. Now let's select all of this and hit Ctrl D and let's bring them at the top like that. And let's change the color of this one to yellow, so it would be easy for us to understand that these are different layers. And I'm going to click on this icon so they will show only this layer. Now I'll try to add a stroke over here, which is like that, but as you guys can see, we cannot add stroke like this. So instead of that, what I'm gonna do, I'll go inside this, I'll go to the add and I'm going to choose stroke. I'll select this stroke and I'll hit Ctrl C to copy. I'll select all of them and I'll hit Ctrl V to paste it. So now inside each and every one, I'm gonna get that stroke. Okay. Now hit U, select all of them, and this time I'm going to choose stroke black and I'm going to delete this fill. So as you guys can see, now we have stroke for each and every one. Now what we can do, let's select all the yellow layers and we will hide them just for now. Now let's select any one of them. For example, this. I'm gonna go over here, go to the add menu, and we are going to choose trim path. Go to the trim path and let's make this end value 0 and create one keyframe. Go to somewhere around 1.10 frame and let's make this value 100. So if you see this now, we will get this kind of animation. Now let's select this and we will hit F9. Now I'm going to copy this trim path by hitting Ctrl C. I'm going to select all of them and I'll hit Ctrl V. So now if you see, we are getting this kind of animation. Now similarly, I'm going to select all of them and I'll hit Ctrl V. So I'll get this stroke animation over here as well. So let's select all of these layers and let's hide this. And now if you see, we are getting this kind of animation. Okay, over here. Now I need animation should be 1 by 1 and I need their distance should be of 5 frames. So I'll select this layer and move this over here. Move this over here. With the help of open square bracket, I'm going to select each and every layer and I'll move this over here like that. Okay. So if you see this now, we are gonna get this kind of animation. Okay. Now at 5 frames, I'm going to select this one and let's move this over here. Again, I'll move this over here, and we will adjust them in the same way. Let's select all of them and let's enable those layers. So if you see this now, we are getting this kind of reveal. Now if you want, then you can move them up to, let's say, 15 frame as well, like this. So as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of reveal. Now let's select all of them and press Ctrl Shift C and we will call it as logo reveal. Now let's go to the main animation and press Ctrl Y to create one black solid background and bring this downwards. I'm going to select this new logo. I'll go to the effect and presets panel and I'll search for fill effect and double click to apply. And I'm going to choose white color for this. Okay. So if you see this now, we are getting this kind of simple logo reveal. Now let's try to add something a little bit different over here. I'm going to select this and I'll hit Ctrl D around 5 times. Select this one and let's choose red color. Select this fourth one. Let's choose blue color. Select this third one. Let's choose green color. Like that. Select this one and let's choose black color. And again, I'm going to take a distance of 5 frames and let's try to adjust this over here. So if I see this now, we are getting this kind of effect. Okay. Now I need another 2 patterns. So first of all, let's hit Control N and I'm going to call it as lines. And this time I'm going to press Control Y to create one solid background, and let's lock this. And I'm going to select my pen tool, and from here to here I'm going to add one white color, and let's choose stroke to pixels. Let's select this shape layer, just Control Alt Home, go to the add menu, and we are going to choose repeater. Go to the repeater one, transform repeater one, and position should be over here. Okay, like that. Okay, let's make this 15, and now let's increase the number of copies to somewhere around like this. Now hit Control N again and to create another composition, and this time I'm going to call it as circles. And again press Control Y to create one solid background and lock this. And this time I'm going to choose ellipse, and fill I'm going to choose white color. And let's delete this stroke, we don't need that stroke. And by holding shift I'm going to create one small ellipse. Select this and press Control Alt Home. Go to the add menu and we are going to choose repeater. Go to the repeater, transform repeater 1, and let's decrease the distance between this over here, and let's increase the number of copies to somewhere around like this. Then select this repeater, hit Control D, go to the repeater 2, transform repeater 2. Let's make this position on x-axis should be 0, and on y-axis I'm going to increase the size. And this time we don't need much more. I think 50 is enough. Okay, now let's go to the main animation and let's go to at this point. And again I'm going to take a distance of 5 frames, and let's go over here, hit Control 0, and this time I'm going to bring my line composition over here, and let's move this over here. I'll select this new logo, hit Control D, I'll hit enter, and I'll call it as mask, and I'll bring this over here. I'm going to change the color of this one to lavender or something, or even you can choose yellow because it's visible easily. And let's move this over here and choose alpha mask. You can press F4 to enable your track matte. So as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of stuff. Then after that I'm going to select this and I'll hit Control D again, and again I'm going to take a distance of 5 frames over here, and let's move this over here like that. Select this layer of lines and let's apply tint effect on it, and let's swap these colors. Okay, after that let's select this 2 layers and hit Control D again and bring this at the top, this 4 layers, and let's try to bring this over here. And after that I'm going to select this lines layers and I'll hit Control 0, and I'm going to select this circle layer, and by holding Alt I'm going to bring them at the top so it will replace them. So we are getting this. And after that I'm going to select this mask and I'll hit Control D and I'll enable this, and I'm going to call it as final logo. And at 15 frames I'm going to bring this over here. So now if I play this animation from the start, as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of revealing effect. Okay, then I'm going to select all of them and I'll press Ctrl Shift C and I'll call it as logo. Then I'll hit Ctrl D to duplicate it and I'll press S for scaling option. I'll unlink this and we will make this -100. Then press P for position and let's bring this downwards like that. So this is going to be obviously the reflection. Then you can select this and you can press F4 and convert this layer into 3D. Press R for rotation and let's rotate it on this axis like that over here. And let's try to bring this a little bit over here. Press T for opacity and let's decrease this opacity. Okay, so as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of animation. Now I'm going to press Ctrl N and I'll call it as fractal. Press Ctrl Y. Go to the effect and presets panel and search for fractal noise effect and double click to apply, and increase the contrast and decrease the brightness, and go to the transform properties, unlink this, decrease this, increase the scale width and decrease the scale height, and let's make this scale width to around 2000 and scale height to 5. Let's go to the main animation, hit Ctrl 0 and bring this fractal over here, and let's hide this. Now I'm going to select this 3D layer, go to the effect and presets panel and search for compound blur effect and double click to apply, and we are going to choose fractal. Okay, and as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of pattern, but if you want, you can increase this lines like that. Also, you can increase the brightness as well, so you will get something like that. You can increase this opacity as well, so you will get this kind of structure. Okay, so if you see this now, we are getting this kind of pattern. Now you can select this fractal noise. You can alt click on this evolution tab and you can search for time star to somewhere around 300. So we will get this kind of animation, and over here as well we will get that animation. Now after that, simply right click new and create one adjustment layer. Go to the effect and presets panel and search for glow effect and double click to apply. Let's increase the glow threshold to 90, glow radius to 100 and glow intensity to 0.5 or let's say 0.2. Okay, so as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of effect over here. Okay, so this is how you will get this kind of logo reveal animation. Now there should be some zoom in zoom out effects. So for that, right click new and create one null object. Select all of these layers except for this adjustment layer. I'm going to pick it a parent with this null. Select this null, press S and create one keyframe. And when this animation is going to get end somewhere around 7 seconds, I'm going to make this 85 and hit N. Okay, so we will get something like this. So we will get this kind of animation. Now there should be some wiggle effect. So simply press P, alt click on the stopwatch and apply for wiggle effect, and let's type 3,3. Okay, so along with this animation, you will get some wiggle effect as well. So this is how you can create any kind of logo reveal animation inside of After Effects with the help of Adobe Illustrator. In Adobe Photoshop. Now I have this Google PNG logo over here. I'm going to press M on my keyboard, so it will automatically select my rectangle selection tool. I'm going to select this G and then I'll press Ctrl X to cut it out, create a new layer and press Ctrl Shift V to paste. Then I'll hide this. Then I'm going to select this O. I'll hit Ctrl X to cut it out, create a new layer and press Ctrl Shift V, and let's hide this. Then I'm going to select this O, hit Ctrl X, create a new layer, press Ctrl Shift V, and let's double click on it and we will name these layers like this should be G. Okay, and let's hide this. Then I'm going to select this G. I'll hit Ctrl X, new layer, press Ctrl Shift V, double click, and let's call it as G. Then I'll select this portion, hit Ctrl X, new layer, Ctrl Shift V to paste in place. Let's call it as L, and this is going to be my E. Okay, and let's save this file as a Photoshop document. Now I'm gonna go in Adobe After Effects and I'll create a new composition and I'm going to call it as main animation. Width is 1920, height is 180, frame rate we are going to choose 59.94, and let's make the duration up to 1 minute only, like that, and background to white color, and let's go to choose grid and guide option and simply hit on title selection. Now let's save this file. Now first thing first, we need to create our animation, which is going to be like atom animation. So let's select your ellipse and this time we are going to choose fill black, and let's delete this stroke like that, and by holding shift I'm going to create one ellipse. Then select this and press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Then go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Select this, hit enter, and let's call it as nucleus. Okay, hit Ctrl D, hit enter, and now this time call it as orbit. Okay, then go to inside this orbit, ellipse path, and we are going to increase the size, but before that we need to delete this fill. We don't need that fill. And for the stroke, choose black color for the stroke, and stroke width let's choose 10, and let's increase the stroke size like that. then select this orbit and hit Ctrl D, or let's delete this. First of all, select this orbit and click on this size over here, and we will create a keyframe, and let's make this value 200 like that. Then select this, hit Ctrl D, hit U. Let's make this value 300, or let's make this 250 maybe, like that. And let's change the stroke to 8. Select this, hit Ctrl D, hit U. Let's make this 300, and let's make this stroke width to 6. Select this, hit Ctrl D, hit U. Let's make this value 350 and change the stroke width to 4. Select this, hit Ctrl D, hit U. Let's make this 400 and let's make this stroke width 2. Okay, so as you guys can see, we are getting this kind of structure, and hit U. Now select all of them and hit U over here, and we haven't created any size keyframe over here. So in search option, you can simply type size, so it will automatically show that and create one keyframe. Now hit U again, then we are gonna go somewhere around 1.30 frames. Select all of them and enable another keyframe on each and every size. Then go to the start, select all the layers, and let's make this 0 size in for each and every one, like this. So now if you see, we are getting this kind of animation. Now select those lines and hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph. By holding shift, move one handle over here. Select this, and by holding shift, move one handle over here. Okay, so if you see this, now we are getting something like this. Now I want this animation one by one, so let's take a distance of 10 frames over here for each. Let's adjust it like that. Okay, so if you see this, now we will get something like this. Okay, now after that, I'm going to select this nucleus, and or you can press F4 to enable this option. Select all of them and convert these layers into 3D, and let's see this animation. Now we will get something like this. Now right click new and create one null object. Select all of them and make it a parent with this null, and select this null and convert this layer into 3D. Now if you press R for rotation, as you guys can see, we will get this kind of rotation over here. Now instead of that, what we can do over here is that we will select all of these orbits and we will press R for rotation, and we can rotate it on this axis as well as this axis. So let's create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y. Then go to around 3 seconds, and we will move this over here a little bit and over here a little bit. Okay, like that. Let's try to adjust it, this portions like this. Okay, now let's select those keyframes and we will hit F9. Then we'll go to the graph editor, select this graph. By holding shift, we'll move one handle over here and we will move one handle over here, like this. So if you see this, now we'll get this animation first and then this animation first over here. Now let's move this animations over here. Let's go somewhere around at 2 frames, move this over here like this. Then I'm going to take a distance of 5 frames this times. Let's select this keyframe, hit Ctrl X, Ctrl V, then go over here, select those keyframe, hit Ctrl X, Ctrl V, go over here, select this, hit Ctrl X, Ctrl V, go over here, select this, hit Ctrl X, Ctrl V, like this. So okay, so if you see this, now first we will get this and then we are gonna get this. Now let's select those portions and let's bring them a little bit closer over, so animation will be a little bit faster. Now along with that, there should be some rotating animation for this. So for that, we need to add trim path. So let's select this trim path, go to the add menu, and we are going to choose trim path. Go to the trim path and let's make this value 80, and we will create one keyframe at offset. Then we will go to around 4 seconds and we will make this one complete rotation over here. So if you see this, now we will get this kind of rotation. Then alt click on this stopwatch and let's type loop out expression over there. Okay, like this. Now let's copy this trim path by hitting Ctrl C and hit U to minimize all of them. Select this second layer, press I to go at the start and hit Ctrl V. Similarly, I hit Ctrl V, select this, I hit Ctrl V, select this, I press I, hit Ctrl V, select this I and press Ctrl V to apply that trim path. Now if you hit U and if you hit play, we are gonna get something like this. Oops, I think I have applied this trim path to the nucleus as well. We can simply delete that, go and delete this trim path. Okay, and hit U. So now if you see this, we are gonna get something like this. Okay, now one thing over here you can do is that you can change this value to, like for example, this should be 2, you like that. Okay, so you will get a little bit faster rotation. For this one you can choose 4, for this one you can choose 8, like that. So if you see this now, we'll first guess this and then we will get this. Okay, like that. So okay, now after that let's select this and press S, and if you increase the size, as you guys can see, we will get something like that. So now if I see this animation, I'll get this and then this. Okay, but we will bring this somewhere around over here at this point. Now hit U, and at this point let's select this, press S, create one keyframe, and when it's going to get rotated completely at this point, I'm going to increase the size of this somewhere around like this. Select those keyframe and hit F9, then go to the graph editor, select this graph by holding shift, move one handle over here and move one handle over here. Okay, so if you see this, we will get something like this. Okay, now let's select all of this orbit. In search option, let's type cap. Okay, now line cap, choose round cap, and let's choose round cap, and let's choose round cap over here. Also over here choose round cap. Okay, hit U. Now if you see this animation, we will get this and we will get this. Now after all of this, we will try to rotate these animations. So let's select all of this and press R for rotation, and again you can select those keyframe, hit Ctrl C, Ctrl V, right click, keyframe assistance, time reverse keyframe, so you will get this rotations. Okay, we will follow the same procedure. Select this, hit Ctrl C, Ctrl V, right click, keyframe assistance, time reverse keyframe, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, right click, keyframe assistance, time reverse. Select this, Ctrl C, Ctrl V, right click, keyframe assistance, time reverse. Select this, hit Ctrl C, Ctrl V, right click, keyframe assistance, time reverse. So we are gonna get something like this. Now over here, instead of this, we are going to choose different values. So let's select all of these layers and we will change this value to somewhere around like this, and change this value to somewhere around like this. So if you see, we will get something like that. Now hit page down button 1 to 2 times over here. Let's select this, hit Ctrl X, Ctrl V, again 2 times over here, Ctrl X, Ctrl V, again 2 times, Ctrl X, Ctrl V, sorry, like that. Okay, so we are getting this kind of closing animation, you can say. And now hit U and select all of them and enable the motion blur. So when they are going to close themselves, let's make this quarter resolution, there should be some motion blur in their animation. Okay, like that. Now after that, when this is going to happen, I want scales to get a little bit low. So hit U, let's go somewhere around over here, select this, press S and create one keyframe. Then at this point, let's make this value 0 and select those keyframe and hit F9, like that. Okay, let's bring this a little bit over here. Okay, Now if you see this animation from the start, let's disable this motion blur just for now. We'll get this, then we'll get this, and then we'll get this. Now at this point I want this nucleus to get small, and we will try to animate our Google animations. So press Ctrl I to bring our Photoshop file. So select this footage, composition, retain cellular sizes, hit import and hit OK. Double click to open this, select all of them, hit Ctrl C, go over here, hit Ctrl V and press V, and let's try to bring them over here like this. So then right click, new, and create one null object. Select all of them and make it apparent with this null. Select this null, press S, and let's decrease the scale of this to somewhere around like this. Okay, now they are going to come from here, so let's delete this null object. Now when this is going to get over here, I'm going to select all of them, and with the help of open square bracket I'll move this over here. Press P for position, create one keyframe like this. Then select all of them, press R for rotation, create another keyframe and hit U, and go somewhere around over here like this. Create one keyframe at position and one keyframe at rotation. Then go to the start. Let's go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically, and let's bring them at the start and press S, create one keyframe, hit U, go over here, create another keyframe, go to the start, and let's make this value over here like this. Okay, now go over here, we will select this and this, and we need to rotate it on negative direction, so let's make this -1 over here, and this one is going to be at the center, so we don't need to add any rotation on this one. I'm going to type +1, so let's make this +1. Okay, so if you see, we will get something like this. Let's select this, we need to make this +1. Select this, we need to make this +1. Select this, we need to make this +1. On this one I don't think we need to add any rotation, so let's make this 0. So if you see, we will get something like this. Now we need to make this movement a little bit faster, so let's select all of them and hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph, by holding shift move this handle over here like this. Select this and move this handle over here. Okay, now at this point we need to change the color of this entire stuff. So for that, what we can do is that at the center, if you see, our main O is in yellow color. So what we can do, we will select this nucleus and we will select our selection option, and let's select this nucleus, and we will go to the fill options, and with the help of this picker I'm going to pick up this yellow color and hit OK. Okay, similarly for this lines over here, for example this one which is outer side over here, what we can do is that I'm gonna go in stroke options, I'll pick up this color. For this one I'll go to the stroke options, I'm going to pick up this red color. For this line I'm going to pick up this green color. For this line again I'm going to pick up this red color, and for this line again I'm going to pick up this blue color. Okay, so let's see, we first get this animation like this. Okay, and when this is going to happen, at this point I'm going to select this nucleus as well as all of these lines. By holding Alt, I'll close all of this, Alt close square bracket, I'll trim up to this, so we'll get something like this transition. Okay, now select all of them, enable the motion blur, and now if I see this, let's see in half resolution, we will get this animation over here first like that, and it will take a little bit time to load this animation, but our final output would be awesome. and our transition will look a little bit smoother like this. Let's see this animation from the start again. We'll get this animation, then this, like that. So okay, over here. Okay, now one thing over here we need to do, that we need to bring this O at the top. Okay, that's the only change we need to do in this animation now, like that. So we will get this kind of transition. So as you guys can see, just with the help of simple steps, we can create this kind of simple Google logo reveal animation. Here we are in Adobe Photoshop, and now I have this Yahoo logo, and just like our previous tutorials, we need each and every alphabet on each and every layer. First thing first, we need to remove this white background. So simply go to the select options and choose color range, and with the help of this picker, I'm going to pick up this white color, and fuzziness I'm going to choose 80, and simply delete this white color and hit Ctrl D to deselect. Now press L for lasso tool, and with the help of lasso tool I'm going to select this Y over here, and I'll hit Ctrl X to cut it out, create a new layer and press Ctrl Shift V to paste in place, double click and let's call it as Y. Same thing I'm going to do this for A. Select this much portion, hit Ctrl X, new layer, Ctrl Shift V, double click, let's call it as A and hide this. Now this time I'm going to press M for rectangle selection, then select this edge, select this layer, hit Ctrl X, new layer, Ctrl Shift V, double click, call it as H, hide this. Then we are going to select this O, hit Ctrl X, new layer, Ctrl Shift V, let's call it as O, like this. Then we'll select this O over here, hit Ctrl X, new layer, Ctrl Shift V, let's call it as O, and we will call it this layer like this. Okay, sorry, double click, shift. Okay, and let's save this Photoshop file. Now we'll go to the Adobe After Effects and we'll create a new composition, which we will name as always meme animation. Width is 1920, height is 180, frame rate we are going to choose 59.94, and duration is also about 1 minute, and background color is white color, and simply hit OK. Go to choose grid and guide option and simply hit on title selection. I'm going to press Ctrl I and I'll select my Photoshop file, import as. Instead of footage, I'm going to choose composition, return layer sizes, and simply hit import and hit OK. Then double click to open this, select all of these layers and hit Ctrl C to copy. Go to the main animation and hit Ctrl V, then right click new and create one null object. Select all of these layers and make it a parent with this null object. Select this, press S, and let's bring this a little bit smaller. Now let's delete this null object, and now we will try to animate our stuff. But before that, let's select all of this and hit Ctrl D, and let's bring them downwards, and we will change the color of this layers to yellow, and we will lock this scale layer, and we will select those layers yellow and press T for opacity, and we'll make the opacity to 40, and we will lock this layers and we will hit U. Okay, just like that. Now this going to be our guidelines, you can say. Now let's try to animate our stuff. Now I'm going to let's hide all of these layers over here, and we will select only this H and two O's at the top, out of which I'm going to select this O over here, and I'll move this over here like that. Let's select this and let's move this over here like that. Okay, now let's try to animate this stuff. Now over here, what kind of animation we do, let's see. We will select all of this and press P for position. By holding shift, I'm going to select those layers, right click and choose separate dimensions over here. Let's create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y. Then I'm gonna go somewhere around at 1 minute, and over here I'm going to select this O and I'll bring this over here, select this O and I'll bring this over here, and select this H and I'll bring this over here like that. Select this, let's bring this over here, select this and let's bring this over here. Okay, then go to the start, select all of them, or let's bring this over here and let's bring this over here like this. Okay, and let's make this fit. So if you see, we are getting something like this. Then somewhere around at this point, I'm going to select this edge. Let's bring this over here. Let's select this and let's bring this over here. Select this and let's bring this over here. Okay, so if you see this animation now, we will get something like this. Okay, now let's select those, and after that we will go somewhere around over here. We will select this top one, which is this one. Let's go few frame forward and we will create one keyframe at Y, and at this point I'm going to bring this a little bit upward. Okay, then select all of this keyframe, and by holding Alt I'm going to bring this up to here. So if you see, we will get something like that. Now let's hit F9, go to the graph editor, select this graph. By holding shift, move one handle over here, select this, move one handle over here, select this, move one handle over here, zoom in, select this, and let's move one handle over here, select this, move one handle over here, select this, and move one handle over here, select this, zoom in, and let's move this over here. Okay, so we will get something like this. Now along with that we need rotation animation as well, so press R for rotation, create one keyframe, hit U, go over here, and let's make this one complete rotation at this point. Okay, so if you see, we will get something like this. Okay, and then after a few points around over here, we need this portion over here, which is this one, and let's, with the help of open square bracket, move this over here, press P for position, select this, right click and choose separate dimensions, and let's create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y. Press R for rotation, and let's rotate it on 90 degree, or let's go somewhere around over here, and let's bring this over here, and we will create one keyframe at X and Y. We will go somewhere around, let's say over here. We will move this from here to here like this. Okay, let's select this and we will hit F9 and go to the graph, zoom in, select this graph. By holding shift, move one handle over here and move one handle over here, so it will look like it's colliding over here. Let's bring this keyframes over here like that. So first we will get this and then this. I think this animation should come at this point, and then after this what we can do is that we need to go somewhere around over here. Let's select this and let's try to bring this position properly over here, and then go over here, press R, create one keyframe, hit U, go over here, and we need to rotate it on proper axis. So let's rotate it like this over here, and let's try to adjust the position. And in middle of that we need to bring the Y position somewhere around over here. We don't need any keyframe on X position. Okay, then select those Y position keyframes, go to the graph, select those graph on Y position, and first thing first, we hit F9, then select this. By holding shift, move this handle over here, move this handle over here, select this, move this handle over here, select this and move this handle over here. So if you see, we will get something like this. Okay, so if you see this, first we will get this and then we will get something like this. Okay, now after that there should be animation for this O and this O, as well as this A and Y. Okay, so let's select this Y and A, and let's, with the help of open square bracket, move them over here, then press P for position, select those P for position, right click and choose separate dimension. Let's create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y, then select this O as well, press P, create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y, then go somewhere around at this point. Let's select this O, move this O over here, select this O, and let's move this O over here, and in middle of that select and select both of these layers, and by holding shift move this over here, and let's delete those Y position key, X position keyframe. I'm going to select this O and I'll bring this a little bit upward like this. Okay, let's delete this Y position, X position keyframes. Similarly for this Y and A, at this point create one keyframe at X and one keyframe at Y, and at this point I want this Y should be over here and this A should be over here. Okay, then go over here. At this point let's change the Y and A position over here, and we don't need X position keyframes. Okay, we can select those X position keyframes, and we will hit F9 on that. Okay, like that. Then we will select those Y position keyframes of each and every layer. By holding shift you can simply select those Y position keyframes, and let's hit F9. Then go to the graph editor, select this graph. By holding shift move this handle over here and move this handle over here, select this, move this handle over here, select this and move this handle over here. Now along with that we will press R for rotation, and we will create one keyframe over here. Then hit U, go over here. At this point we will make this I don't think we need to change the rotation for O, but for these we will make this -1 rotation. Select those rotation keyframes by holding shift and hit F9. Okay, we will get something like this. So if you see this now, first we will get this and then we will get this. Now the thing is that these animations are happening quite fast, so what we can do, we need a distance between each and every animation. So for this O, I'm not going to change anything. For this keyframes, by holding Alt I'm going to increase the duration. Similarly for this one, by holding Alt I'm going to increase the duration of this one to this. Select this, by holding Alt I'm going to increase the duration up to this. So if you see, we will get something like this. Okay, over here. Now hit U, and now we don't need any of these, so let's delete those reference keyframes. If you see this animation, first we will get this and then we will get this, and let's make this fit. Now our this logo animation is ready. Now we need to create animation which is going to be the starting point of this. So let's select all of this and press Ctrl Shift C, and we will call it as logo animation. Okay, sorry, and hit OK, and let's hide this, or before that press Ctrl Y and create one background with this purple color, and let's bring this downwards and let's hide this logo animation. Now first thing first, we need to create our ellipse, and let's delete this fill. We don't delete the stroke, we don't need that stroke, and choose fill. And by holding shift I'm going to create one ellipse. Select this, press Ctrl Alt Home, go to the align tab, align it horizontally and then align it vertically. Then press P for position. Initially it should be downward. Create one keyframe, then go to around 1 second, and let's make this somewhere around over here like this. Then go somewhere around at this point over here. Select this, go to the align tab and choose align vertically. If you see this now, we will get something like this. Now select those keyframe and hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph. By holding shift move this handle over here, select this, move this handle over here, move this handle over here, and move this handle over here. So if you see, we will get something like this. Now over here, if you see over here, we are getting some error. So let's select those keyframe, right click, go to keyframe interpolation, and instead of auto bezier choose linear and hit OK. So now if you see, we are getting this kind of bounciness, and by holding Alt I'm going to bring this animation up to 1 second. Okay, and then at 1 second I'm going to select this, I'll press S, create one keyframe, I'll go 10 frame forward, and I'm going to increase the size of this animation to somewhere around like this, that it should cover our entire canvas. Then select those keyframes and we are going to hit F9, go to the graph, select this graph, shift hold, move this handle over here and move this handle over here like this. And when this is going to happen, I want my logo animation to start to appear. So bring this logo animation at the top, enable this, and with the help of open square bracket, I'll bring this over here like this. Now let's see. Yep. And when this is over here, if this portion is going to strike over here, there should be some shaky animation over here. So for that, I'm going to press P for position, create one keyframe. I'll hit page down button and let's bring this over here a little bit. Then page down button again, zoom in. Let's bring this over here again, hit page down button, copy the first keyframe, hit Ctrl C, Ctrl V. So we will get this kind of shakiness, and enable the motion blur for this shakiness. Then go inside this, select all of them and enable the motion blur as well. Now if you see this portion, we'll get this, and then we'll get this. Enable the motion blur over here as well. Okay, so first we will get this, and then we will get this, and press N at 5 seconds, and so we will get this animation like this, and then we'll get this animation. So yep, this is how you can create this kind of Yahoo logo reveal animation inside of After Effects. So first of all, here we are in Adobe Illustrator. Now I have this logo file over here which I got from freepik.com. I'll provide the link in my description. Now over here we are going to need this 3 logo, not this one. I'm going to select this one and this one over here. So let's select this one and hit delete. I'm going to select this one, hit Ctrl C to copy, go to the our new file. I have already created one new file. You can simply go to the file, Control N, and create a new file, height and width 1920 by 180, and it should be in RGB mode, and simply press Ctrl V over here. Now let's select all of them, go to the align horizontally, align center from vertical as well as horizontal, and try to bring them properly at the center over here. Now after that, we need each and every one on separate layers. So let's select this white color logo, hit Ctrl X to cut it out, create new layer and press Ctrl Shift V to paste in place. Double click on this layer and let's call it as white BG logo, and let's hide this. Then we have this one which is colored logo. So select this and this portion, hit Ctrl X, create a new layer, press Ctrl Shift V to paste in place, double click and let's call it as colored logo. Then we have this black logo, select this and make sure that it should be black logo. Now after selecting that, simply right click and choose ungroup, and I'm going to select this black colored background, hit Ctrl C, create a new layer and press Ctrl Shift V to paste in place, double click and let's call it as stroke over here, and let's bring this downwards. Let's hide this. Now I'm going to select this layer, this stroke layer. Simply go to the color option and click on this none, and over here in stroke I'm going to choose black color just for now. So for the visibility, and increase the stroke width to somewhere around 3 and change the color of this stroke to white and simply hit OK. Okay, and let's press Ctrl S to save this file and hit Ctrl 0. So now if you see, we have one, if you click on this click to target, you can see that stroke, then we have one black colored logo, then we have colored logo, and then we have white logo. Okay, now let's save this file. Now we will go to the Adobe After Effects, and I'm going to hit Ctrl N, or you can simply click on this new composition. We are going to call this comp as main animation comp, like that. Width is 1920, height is 180, frame rate you can choose whatever you want. I'm going to choose 59.94, and background color is black color, and simply hit OK. Then go to choose grid and guide option and simply hit on titles of action. Now make sure to hit Ctrl S to save this file. Right now I'm just saving everywhere. So press Ctrl I to import your Illustrator file. So select that Illustrator file, import as footage. I'm going to choose composition, return layers and sizes, and simply hit import. And let's bring this layer over here. Let's double click to open this. Now select all of them. Here zoom in a little bit and let's try to bring this at the center and let's make this fit. Now press S and let's make the size up to 2000, not 2000 but 200, like this. Now let's optimize our setup properly. Let's hide all of this, and we have the stroke over here. Select this stroke, right click, go to the create option and shape from vector layer, and we will delete this fifth Illustrator layer, we don't need that. Then we have black logo that should get animated first, so let's try to focus on that. Press Ctrl K to open the project settings and change the color of this one to white. Okay, now what I want is that one object should come from here, and then from here one object should come and it should squeeze that object, and then we will get this logo. So first thing first, we will create that object. So we have this black logo, let's bring this at the top. Let's change the color of this one to red. For the white color I'm going to choose somewhere around this. For colored logo we will choose yellow color just for now, and for the stroke let's keep this color as it is. Okay, so now we are dealing with black logo, so whatever is associated with this we will represent that with the red color only. So first thing first, we will select our ellipse, and for the fill click on this picker and pick up this over here, and by holding shift I'm going to create one ellipse. Let's select this ellipse and press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point to the center. Change the color of this one to red, and this is going to be the ball, so hit enter and let's call it as ball, and go to the align tab, align it horizontally and align it vertically just for now. Now there should be something which should inside this ball, like a line kind of structure. So let's go to the content, select this ellipse and hit Ctrl D to duplicate it. Now this topmost ellipse should contain stroke, not fill, so I'll hide the fill and I'll enable the stroke. And let's if you see, after enabling stroke we got this white color stroke over here. So let's make the stroke width to somewhere around 5 maybe. Then go to the ellipse path and let's decrease the size of this. After this, then minimize this, select this ellipse, go to the add and choose trim path, then go to the trim path and let's make this value 20. Okay, so if I enable this only, we will get this kind of structure. Now you can go to the stroke options and you can adjust the stroke width according to your needs, and let's make this line cap to round cap, so we will get something like this. Now let's minimize this. Now let's select this ball, press V for selection tool, and by holding shift I'm going to bring this over here, like it should touch the bottom of this. Now after that let's select this ball, press P for position, create one keyframe, then go somewhere around 2 seconds, create another keyframe, then go to the start. Let's press R for rotation, create one keyframe, hit U, go to 2 seconds and let's make this rotation to -1 or let's say -2. Okay, then go to the start, let's bring this from here to here like that, then select the last keyframe and hit F9. Okay, so if you see, we will get something like this. Now at this point I want there should be some squeezing animation, so let's hide this black logo for now. I'm going to select my ellipse and then select this fill and make sure to choose this color only. Let's select not this ellipse but rounded rectangle may be good, and create this kind of rounded rectangle like this. Select this and press Ctrl Alt Home to align that anchor point. Let's hit enter and let's call it as bold. Okay, select this, go to the align tab and choose align horizontally, then select this bold, hit Ctrl D to duplicate, go over here, go to the contents, rectangle path, unlink this, and we need to increase the size of this from here like that. Then select this board, hit R and let's rotate it on 90° like this. Then select this, press V and let's try to bring this over here. Okay, now this board 2 should be parent with this one, so let's select this board 2 and make it a parent with this board. Let's select all of this board 1 and board 2 and change the color of this one to red one. Okay, so we have this board. Now it should come from top, so make sure to initially it should be over here. Select both of them, and let's, so with the help of open square bracket, I'm going to move them over here. Select this board, press P, create one keyframe, then go somewhere around 3 seconds, and let's try to bring this downward over here. Then go to the 4 second, select this first keyframe, hit Ctrl C, Ctrl V, select those keyframe, and let's hit F9 to ease out. Go to the graph editor, right click and make sure to choose edit speed graph. Select this speed graph. By holding shift, I'm going to move this handle over here. Select this and move select this and move this handle over here. Select this and move this handle over here. Select this and move this handle over here. So if you see, we will get something like this. Now if you see this animation, we will get this first and then we will get this first. Now it should be a little bit faster, so let's select this, and by holding alt, I'm going to reduce this keyframes up to this. So if you see this now, first we will get this and then we will get this. Now when this ball is this board is gonna come near the ball, it should start getting squeezed. So to do that, if you see this properly, the anchor point of this ball is at the center. So if I press S, for example, if I press S and unlink the scale, it should come from the center, but we don't want that. So to avoid this mistake, what we can do, we can simply right click and we can create a new null object, hit enter, and let's call it as scale. And this null object, press P and bring this null object at the bottom over here, and select this ball and make it a parent with this scale. Now what will happen, if I select this scale and if I unlink this and if I adjust the scale, I can animate it like this. So let's create one keyframe at scale, hit U so you can see, select all of this and hit U so you can see all of the keyframes. And at this point over here, I'm going to reduce the scale from here like this, and adjust the size from here like that. Then go somewhere around over here, let's make this value 100, also this one also 100. Then select those keyframe and let's hit F9. So if you see, we will get something like this. So if I see, we will get this kind of animation. Now after that, from this point, this portion should not come. Our logo should start come from here. So let's select this black logo and let's bring this at the top over here, and with the help of open square bracket, I'll move this over here. Then at this point, I'll go somewhere around over here. Then I'm going to select this black logo and I'll make it a parent with this scale. So if you see, we'll get something like this. Okay, you can select this keyframe and you can move little bit forward, so you will get proper something like this. Then you can go to the graph editor, you can select this graph. By holding shift, move this handle over here and this handle over here like this. Okay, so there should be some smoothness over here, and then you can select this ball over here. At this point, I don't want anything of this ball, so by holding alt, close square bracket, I'll move to this. Okay, so if you see this now, we'll get this, then we'll get this. Now after that, I'm going to enable my stroke layer, which is this one, and let's bring this at the top, stroke layer, and let's move this over here. Go to the effect and presets panel, and we are going to search for drop shadow effect. So let's apply drop shadow effect and double click to apply, and let's increase the softness of this shadow somewhere around like this. Okay, let's select this, and with the help of open square bracket, move this over here. Go to the stroke, go to the add, and let's choose trim path. Go to the trim path and let's make this end value 0 and create one keyframe. Go somewhere around over here, let's make this value 100. Select those keyframe and let's hit F9. Go to the graph editor, select this graph. By holding shift, move this handle over here and move this handle over here like that. So you will get something like this. Okay, so if you see this now, we'll get first this, then this, and we want this after this. Then select this white BG logo over here, and let's try to bring this at the top. and with the help of open square bracket move this over here. So let's say this animation from now. First we will get this and then this. I think this ball is coming very slowly, so hit U, select those last keyframe, or you can select all the keyframes and hit F9. Go to the graph, select this graph by holding shift, move this handle over here like this. Then we will get something like this. You can bring this scale over here, this keyframe over here, so it will, you know, start to, it will come at the position over here. Let's move this up to this. Okay, like that. So as you guys can see, we will get this, then this, and then we want this white color logo at this point. Okay, and there should be some animation that should reveal this white colored logo. So for that, what we can do is we will create some kind of wavy animation. So let select this rectangle, and let's create one mask for this. Let's select this, hit enter, and let's call it as mask. And I'm going to choose this green color over here for this, and let's move this over here. I think this is sand color, so let's choose same color. Move this over here and go to the effect and presets panel and search for wave warp effect and double click to apply, and increase the wave width somewhere around like this, and wave height as well over here. Then along with that, I'm going to apply turbulence displace effect and double click to apply, and let's bring this downwards over here. Select this white BG logo and choose alpha mask. Select this mask, press P for position, create one keyframe, go somewhere around over here, and let's move this over here. Okay, so if you see this now, we will get this kind of revealing animation over here. Now I'm going to select this colored logo and I'll hit Ctrl D for just for now to create a, you know, a kind of a illusion that there are both logos involved. I'm going to change the color of this one to sand also, and let's enable this logo over here, and let's bring this over here. And now I'm going to select this mask. I'll hit Ctrl D, I'll bring this over here, I'll select this layer as well, and I'm going to choose alpha matte, and I'm going to select this white colored logo, and it should animate a little bit later after this color. And let's select this mask over here, and I'm going to change the turbulence evolution over here, so I'll get a different pattern for this one. Okay, so let's try to bring this over here. First we will get this kind of animation. So if I see this animation from the start, first I'll get this, then I'll get this, then I'll get this over here. Then I'm going to enable this white colored logo over here. Let's select all of this and press Ctrl Shift C, and I'm going to call it as animation of logos and hit OK. Then we are going to apply page turn effect over here, CC page turn, and as you guys can see, if I move this over here, I can move page turn this effect like this. Press F4 over here and enable this icon, so you know you can easily animate this. So initially it should be over here. Let's see how does it looks. As you guys can see, at this point we are getting trouble over here. So let's do one thing, let's go somewhere around at this point. When this entire animation is done, I'm going to select this and I'll press Ctrl Shift D to split this layer, and at this point where this animation is going, we don't want this, so I'm going to delete this page turn effect. Okay, so first I'll get this, and when this is happening, I'm getting this. By the way, this logo is this one. Okay, so there is nothing behind it, we get this animation, and then this. Then at this point over here, initially select this fold position, select this icon, and let's see where we can move. I want to move it let's say over here like this. You can change the light direction according to your needs. Okay, you can choose different options as well, like where you want to rotate, or for example you can rotate it from here as well, you can move this somewhere around over here as well. Okay, I think I want to move it over here, so initially it should be over here. Create one keyframe at position and make sure to choose top right corner, hit U, then go few frame forward somewhere around over here and zoom out, and let's try to bring this point totally over here. Okay, and select those keyframe and let's hit F9 and let's make this fit and enable this colored logo, and with the help of open square bracket I'll move this over here, so I'll get that revealing effect over here. Let's make this full quarter resolution. Okay, like this. Now after that, if you want, you can select this, you can apply turbulence displace effect over here as well. So if you see this, now we are getting this kind of effect, but we don't want this effect at the start, so initially amount should be 0. Create one keyframe. As the animation goes further, increase that amount to 100. Okay, hit U so you can see those keyframe like this. Okay, and let's try to bring this little bit downward. Okay, so we will get something like this, so we will get proper page turn effect. So as you guys can see, we will get first this, then this, then this, and then this, and then something like this. Okay, so this is how you can create this kind of Instagram logo reveal. Now you can go to the main animation and hit N. You can press Ctrl Y to create one solid background. You can choose a little bit grayish background as well, like this. Okay, so you will get proper this kind of animation over here. Then make sure to go inside this animation logos and all of the stuff, select all of them and enable the motion blur. So what will happen is that you will get that subtleness in your each and every transition over here, like this. Okay, so yeah, this is how you can create this kind of logo reveal.